when we refer to it as the bird, Jen thinks that means that she can start telling me I'm number one using her fingers in a particular one. So
Is there a listener who would disagree with me?
Yeah,
I'm thinking no.
There you go.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Did you just flip me off?
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. Now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't shape up, okay, and get your head straight, there, you just flipped me off again.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome into Thursday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird, as we get you up, get you going. Hope you're doing well this morning as we're one day closer to the weekend. Really, we just got to get through today. Whenever your day ends, you just have to get through today. Friday doesn't really count. Friday's part of the weekend. Let's be honest. We don't really work hard on Friday, so just survive today. Hope you're doing well as we get you going. Plenty to get into today. South Carolina basketball last night, a 80-41 winner over Mars Hill in the debut of Lamont Paris. And what we will see, I will admit, I did not make it down. I had some things come up, didn't get a chance to go and see them, but we'll get into a little bit of what the Gamecock basketball team did last night in an exhibition game. It's interesting because, well, we didn't know anything about them, and we learned a little bit last night, I guess you could say. I mean, it was an actual game against another opponent, and it was kind of interesting. So we'll get into that just a little bit this morning. Oh, Marcus Satterfield talked yesterday, and yes, it was just about everything you would think it would be. We'll definitely play a little bit of audio from Marcus Satterfield coming up this hour as it pertains to what he said regarding his team, getting guys on the field. A certain player, Jaheim Bell, is the only one we've been focused on, really. But we will listen to what he had to say. Clayton White also talked yesterday. Clayton White was basically the JV game to Marcus Satterfield. But we'll get you some audio of both Clayton White and Marcus Satterfield from yesterday. And we had a little World Series action last night, some MAC action as well. But we had some World Series last night, and we'll get into that just a tad as the Astros tie up the series 2-2, 5-0 victory. Bunch of pitchers for the Astros combined for a no-hitter to even the series. So, all right, I got to admit, I think it was like Friday, I believe. Yeah, it was Friday. The World Series started on Friday. That I sat here and was like, man, not going to watch it. Not interested. No, no interest whatsoever. Turns out I was wrong. I've actually been a little bit more invested in the World Series than I believed I would be. It's been kind of entertaining in different ways. And I watched more innings of it last night than I thought I would end up watching. And so 5-0, the Astros win. Again, they throw a no-hitter, but it was not just one pitcher. It was a combination of Astros pitchers as they combined for a no-hitter, and now that series 2-2. And it's actually kind of entertaining. I would encourage you, if you hadn't checked out a couple innings, get in there, buddy. What are you doing? Watch a little bit of the World Series. So we'll talk a little bit about that this morning. 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Or you can go and join us on our live stream. Mr. Kirkland, who's down in our basement, well, not technically our basement, but the building we're in, he's protecting us all here at our local studios. DC, RL, Jerry, all up and at it with us this morning. And again, you can be a part of that if you want to go to our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, and be a part. Go ahead, just be a part of our live stream. Weigh in there on the chat room, and whatever may get discussed, you can hop in, or you can just see my pretty smiling face bright and early for you on a Thursday morning. Again, 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so. And as he does each and every morning, bright and early. I've lost my producer. Where is he? Oh, there he is. I see him back there. Let's get out to old Gamecock Larry, who is waiting patiently to discuss Vinny the Vanderbilt, or Vanderbilt Vinny. I'm sure who's called him this week. Who's the antagonist this week, Gamecock Larry? Who's been calling you? Is it Kerry the Commodore, Vinny, Mr. Vanderbilt? What do we got?
No, I ain't got no calls. They
Strange.
talking about somebody named Seth. But I listened to this. I listened to Coach Beamer Tuesday, and I listened to this so-called offensive coordinator we got yesterday. And I'd just like to ask one question, and I'm going to get off. What in the world is he talking about? We in the early stages, 21 games in your career and 4 games left, and we're in the early stages? That is stupid. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, Bill. But what in the world is he talking about? 21 games. Been here 21 games. And one game was the bowl game, and that was a good game. I don't know who called them plays, but this stupid guy we got by, he couldn't have been the one that called them plays. I just guess I better be quiet and hang up. But I love all y'all, and I hope Jen and the family are getting along well. Gamecock Nation, we just got to, oh Lord, I would have run this joker off. He'd have been gone a long time ago. If he was one of my junior drill sergeants and I was in the Army, and he messed up like this trying to sabotage me, I'd have kicked him out of the lineup right quick. I guess I better shut up, Bill. I'm sorry. Go Gamecocks. Love all y'all.
When he says he loves all of us, I think he means he also loves Satterfield. He loves all of us. And so I think he doesn't mean what he said there. He actually loves Marcus Satterfield as well. All right, let's stay on the phone lines. Ed, let's get out to David, who wants to talk about Marcus Satterfield's press conference. David, what you got this morning? What's on your mind?
Well, the old saying, it's better to be quiet and thought an idiot than to speak and remove all doubt. I just thought that his press conference was like an insult to our intelligence. And but more importantly, I was wanting to say, I don't know if you said you didn't get a chance to watch any of the basketball.
Yeah.
From what I heard, the shooting was much improved. Appreciate what you do, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. South Carolina last night, 10 of 26 from three-point range. Chico Carter Jr., 3 of 4. I like what he can potentially bring. He had 13 points. Michi Johnson, the player that I talked about yesterday, was 2 of 7 from three-point range last night, 5 of 13 from the field. He played well. Gigi Jackson was okay. Gigi Jackson was all right. Played 24 minutes last night. 4 of 10 from the field. Hit a three-pointer. Made a couple free throws. Had 7 rebounds. Fouled someone 3 times. Turned the ball over a couple times. He filled up the stat line. I'm not going to lie. Gigi Jackson last night, 11 points. So entertaining. But it was Michi Johnson last night with 16 points. And I've said it again. And we'll talk more about it this morning. For South Carolina to be successful in basketball this season, to be right around 500, Michi Johnson has to be the guy that leads them. He will need to be the star. Gigi Jackson will have some games that I think will stand out where you go, oh, yeah, that guy now. I understand. I see why so many people are excited and feel great about him. But it'll need to be need to be Johnson, the Ohio State transfer, that steps in and really provides the Gamecocks a scoring punch, a leading guy. I think Gigi can do that over time. But at the end of the day, if you point to one guy on that basketball team who has to come ready to go night in, night out, it's Michi Johnson. And I'd heard a lot of great things about him in the preseason, and it looked like last night that he stepped up. I look forward to being out there on Tuesday when they get going against South Carolina State. And what we'll do is give you a pair of tickets, or give you a chance to win a pair of tickets here later on in the program. 803-404-6100. We'll get you some Marcus Satterfield audio. Let you listen to that a little bit this morning. Might see if we can find the whole thing. And we might just have to see if we can find that whole thing, just play it straight and let people listen to as much as possible. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
The way that Eli Drinkwitz seems to own South Carolina and just relish playing the Gamecocks, I'm trying to think when the last time somebody else has owned the Gamecock soul like Eli seems to.
I'll say this, at least as far as Saturday, it didn't feel like a fluke to me. Like, I thought they had a phenomenal plan on offense.
Will Helms was making this observation on Twitter very early on in the game. It's like Carolina, 6 sacks against Kentucky, 33 pressures against Texas A&M, and Missouri just, I don't know what the official tally was. I would guess Carolina probably had fewer than 5 pressures, but you're right. It was absolutely just by design.
Carolina had 3 pressures, 2 by Tonka Hemingway, 1 was a sack, and then Jordan Birch had 1. That was it.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Staying warm this time of year, it's not that hard. Now, January, February, March, entirely different. And so if you have not been thinking about your heating and air unit, now is the time to do it. You need to give them a phone call, 803-677-1500, and find out, get them out to your house. Make sure, I was going to say find out that your heating and air unit is working properly, but you want to make sure that your heating and air unit is working properly. Get AAA Heating and Air out to your house today to work on that unit, maintain it. Maybe you need a new unit, and if that's the case, they've got some great deals going on. Guaranteed financing, as some government regulations are about to change, and they want you to be comfortable during the winter. So don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. That's how you can get in touch with AAA Heating and Air. Right now, also, if you are a top HVAC technician and you're ready to stop working and start a career, you can earn up to $100,000 a year. Plus, AAA Heating and Air makes sure that you are working for an incredible company. I've visited them. I've talked with them. Working for AAA Heating and Air is absolutely incredible. And right now, quality candidates who have at least 2 years of experience and a good driving record have a great chance of joining, having a great career working for Roy and Dana Finley. You can apply in person at the Lexington office. Go ahead. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. So whether you're looking for a job, AAA Heating and Air has you taken care of, or if you're in the market for a brand new heating and air unit, AAA Heating and Air is ready to take care of you today. Again, guaranteed financing. What that doesn't mean if you have great credit, you're approved. It means if you have credit, you're approved. So don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air, 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. You know, a half a dozen quarterbacks are suffering from sophomore slumps these days. With Davis Mills at the head of the class, believe it or not, with only a C-plus grade, the fact that he's still standing is amazing. Mac Jones gets a C.
Wow.
Which means at Lowe's, you're invited to enjoy a Lowe's Pro Happy Hour. Kick back with free Pepsi Cola drinks and Frito-Lay snacks. Plus, on 3 times bonus points per dollar on purchases of select Pepsi products. Come into Lowe's and get the full MVP treatment at Pro Happy Hour on November 17th, 2 to 5 p.m. While supplies last. Bonus points up about 1027 to 12 and calculated for tax and fees after applicable discounts events. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Rewards.
Right away off here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, you sound like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. That looks like the cutoff man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right price. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Sponsored by Houston XDM. An accident at American Accounting Way and Pineview Drive, an accident 77 northbound at Garner's Ferry, exit 9, an accident at Broad River near I-20, and disabled vehicles both 77 northbound and southbound at Blackwood Road, exit 27. Say goodbye to retaking medicine every few hours. Find Houston XDM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than typical 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicine. That's 3 times longer relief for chest congestion and cough. Nothing lasts longer. Emergency topical medicine.
Every football season, something campus in catch a game. Whatever the game, whatever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at games.online.com.
I'm good with Coldwell Banker Realty. Since 1985, my husband Danny and I have been striving to give better than expected real estate service to clients in the Midlands of South Carolina. Our son William DiMaggio joined us in 2014. Since then, the good team has consistently been recognized as the number one Coldwell Banker Realty small team in Carolina. If you want honesty and integrity yourself, that type of experience in buying or selling real estate, call the good team at 803-720-2512 or online at thegoodteam.com.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the third generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or petfreesd.com.
The government has been providing top-notch service throughout the business for over 47 years, building their business on relationships, not gimmicks. And you can call them locally, not a 1-800 number. Call them today, 791-7147, and look for the guys in the Power Blue Trucks.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Let's see here. I'll call for number 7. I'll call for number 7. Eight 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on last night's basketball game, 80-61. I'm sorry, 80-41 right here in front of me. But if you want to weigh in on that, if you had a chance to get out and catch what Lamont Paris is putting out. I don't put too much stock into exhibition games, but nonetheless, it was fun to at least learn a little something about what Lamont Paris will bring to the South Carolina basketball program. And last night, again, Meechie Johnson with a great start to his Gamecock career, 16 points, 5 of 13 shooting. Also had 4 assists last night. This is the key stat, 0. Nice goose egg. Turnovers. No turnovers. Very good start for Meechie Johnson last night as the Gamecocks roll. They shoot 48% from the field, 38% from three-point range, 10 of 26. I am slightly concerned with 26 three-point attempts, but let's just see how it goes. Let's let that play out. Mars Hill, led by former Gamecock Larry Davis, 1 of 16 from three-point range. That is 6% if you want to avoid the calculator and just listen to me. 28% from the field, 17 of 61. We'll talk more about that throughout the morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can, again, join us this morning. Yesterday, Marcus Satterfield talked to the media, and he talked about effort and maximizing potential and all these good things that coaches tend to talk about. Here's a little what Marcus Satterfield had to say.
I mean, I think we've given it everything we've got, and I think that we continue to work hard, and I think that, we continue to have the trust of our players, and I think that, we've shown games where we've been productive and ran the ball and threw it and caught the ball and scored touchdowns, and there's games where we haven't. So we're still, again, not a young football team, but we're still early on in the stages, Spencer's first year, and just trying to build and mold what we ultimately want to look like as an offense. Certain pieces have been available, certain pieces haven't been available. But, I just think that moving forward, I think that, based on this week and how Spencer's attacked it and how everybody's attacked it, I think, we're going to continue to get better.
I don't have words. I've thought about it since yesterday, since I heard it. And that was the moment right there, 6:22, where I was trying. I had to come up with something to say in response to what those comments were, and I failed. And I'm laughing at myself because since I've heard that yesterday, I don't. It's 8 games into this season. The offense cannot be this complicated. And Spencer Rattler has not been great this year. He's not been awful. The stats show that he's had a rough year, but some of you were weighing in yesterday in the quarterback conversation. And you were saying it's not the quarterback, it's the scheme, it's the coaching. And you can't argue with that. You can't. You simply can't. The scheme does not lend itself to being quarterback friendly. South Carolina, it is a wild stat that South Carolina started 5 quarterbacks over the last 21 games. That there is something to be said for that. But the bottom line is this kid in Spencer Rattler is a good player. Does he need some coaching? Yes. Does he need some development? Without a doubt. No question asked. But you shouldn't have the issues that you have. I go back. How in the world you get a delay of game coming out of on first down, coming out of a change of possession is I mean, I guess it happened to Steve Spurrier. I guess I should maybe say, well, it happens. And because if we all remember the Auburn game in 2005 where Antonio Hefner, who was trying his best, went out and they had to call 2 timeouts on the opening play, the very first play. And then they snapped it off his ear hole and that obviously went downhill. But there's a lot to digest from that comment from Marcus Satterfield as it pertains to what this offense is. And it's not, and as you hear him say, and unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be critical of him, it's not early. It's not early. You can't, that's horrifying to think, okay, well, if Spencer Rattler leaves, if let's just hypothetically say he leaves, he shouldn't. But does that mean next year that you're starting all over with a quarterback and that your offense isn't capable of being picked up by a guy in 1 year to be able to be run? Is that what's going to happen every time you change quarterbacks, that the offense is not able to be picked up and run? That's not what you want to hear. That's not what an offense should be. It's terrifying to hear that. So, we are where we are, 8 games in. I think we all, whether you like it or not, you've accepted, or hopefully you're accepting of, Shane Beamer's not going to make a move here in the season, which is fine. I understand the reasoning behind that. Whether you agree or disagree is your own opinion, but Shane Beamer's not going to make a change. So whatever they're operating with down there, whatever scheme, system, whatever play calling, it has to find a way to work for the next 4 games. I mean, that's and preferably one of those games you win and you get to a bowl game, but it has to find a way to work. And so this weekend you get Vanderbilt. Defense is going to be a little bit different. Vanderbilt's defense is not that good. South Carolina should have some success. Quite honestly, if Marshawn Lloyd is healthy and completely healthy and the quad is not an issue, I would expect a run-heavy game. Quite honestly, I would expect you to get Jaheim Bell back in at tailback and just hand him the ball. You want to get him the football. You want to kind of take it out of Spencer Rattler's hands and get Jaheim Bell the ball. Well, the easiest way to do that is just line him up in the backfield, throw him some toss sweeps, occasionally hand it to him and just run it up the gut. That's an easy way to go about doing it. Go with a 1-2 punch of Lloyd and Bell, and then if you want to split Bell out occasionally and run him on a deep route, you can do that as well. And we'll see how that all kind of plays out this weekend. But I do expect South Carolina's offense to be a little bit better and control the Vanderbilt defense. But if it doesn't happen, I've got a feeling a lot of you will be pitchforks ready, torches ready to march on Williams-Brice Stadium in the athletic facility come Sunday morning, Monday morning, whatever, and have your fair share of what you want to say. Satterfield talking about this past weekend. He talked about this past weekend. Lord knows we've covered this past weekend a good bit. Here's what Marcus Satterfield said could have been done better this past Saturday against Missouri.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, you'd love to hit if I had a pause and rewind button on every play, I'd like to do certain things different on most of them. So, I think we just got to, if you watch the first half, it's a block here, a decision here. a call here. It was one of those days where things were not trending in our direction, at least offensively. The one thing I would, just going back and looking at the game, I think that with 11 minutes, 12 minutes, like we were already in what we would call rally mode because we were 2 touchdowns down. So we were having to play fast and try to get chunks and try to save timeouts and try to score. I probably, if I had a do-over, would go back and just play that as a true possession of just if it takes 8 minutes, it takes 8 minutes, but just go get a touchdown, run your offense. So I probably got to rally a little bit too early. That'd probably be the one thing that I'd look at.
A couple of you weighing in this morning. Richard says biggest problem with Satterfield is he can't see the flaws in himself when the offense doesn't do anything and your quarterback says we didn't understand what the heck was going on. And the offensive coordinator says, yeah, he understood exactly what was going on. We've got a problem. It's very fair, Richard. It's very fair. Co-pilot weighs in, said Marcus Satterfield's comments can be summed up as I know what I'm doing. Everyone else needs to be quiet. I think he's too arrogant to not change. And then anonymous texter, and I'm just reading what others think, says the offense coordinator has no clue what he's doing. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone line. It's Vern, who calls in frequently.
Yep.
Would like to weigh in. Vern, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good. What the situation is here is just as simple as 1, 2, 3, ABC. Shane Beamer is the head coach. He needs to stand up and be a man and tell that guy, you either do it the way I want it done or you're going to lose your job. I want you to put some simple thing out there where these guys can get it because Carolina offensive line is terrible. We got a better offensive line in Bishopville than he got. So, I hate to say it like that, but that's what he need to do. He need to be the man because he say he the head coach, everything falls on him. He go up there and tell them that and stuff like that because I sit there and watch them and I can get one of my grandchild and go out there and do better. And she is only 4 years old. So everybody be blessed and we'll talk to you all in the future. Thank you for your time.
Good to hear from you, buddy. Glad you're doing well and hope the granddaughter's doing good as well. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Again, maybe we'll see if we can get some full audio and catch all that in context. Maybe play it off of the thing. We got a bunch of cuts this morning, but let you hear it in context. It was something. It was something, and I don't think it's as I'm watching the text messages just roll in, I don't think it's something that makes Gamecock fans happy. We'll let you listen to a little bit more of that this morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. Again, reminder, Jen is with us, but she is dealing with some family issues back home. She hadn't gone anywhere. She's just trying to deal with the family. If you want to wish her well, contact her on Twitter at Jen Jensen Morse is the way you can do that. Wish her and her mom well as she's dealing with some family stuff, but she's certainly in our thoughts and prayers. But Ed Bird holding it down behind the glass here in the producer studio. Appreciate what he's doing. You're listening to Bill Gunner. Ed Bird, it's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Big weekend of college football. We've talked about it. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Clemson's on the road at Notre Dame. South Carolina's on the road at Vanderbilt. All this leads to a perfect Saturday to have people over to the house and watch football. That's right. You want to have that perfect Saturday tailgate party at the house, have a bunch of food. But the main thing is making sure that house is nice and clean, ready to have people over. And with Zero Res, that is exactly what you can get. You can welcome guests into a clean, healthy home this coming Saturday by calling the cleaning pros at Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their patented no residue cleaning system gets your carpets, rugs, and upholstery insanely clean. And right now, a fantastic sale going on you can take advantage of. Their fall sale. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And listen to this part. When you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you get a hallway cleaned for free. Give them a phone call, 803-262-4020, or schedule with ease online, zerorescolumbia.com. Again, that phone number, 803-262-4020, or on the internet, zerorescolumbia.com. ZeroRez.com. Take advantage of the fall sale. You can have ZeroRez out to your house today. Get the house cleaned. You can make sure you're ready for that big tailgate party this weekend. Watch the Tigers take on the Fighting Irish, the Gamecocks, and the Commodores. Maybe you want to check out Alabama and LSU. Whatever it is, make sure your house is clean. Call ZeroRez. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, you'll get a hallway clean for free. Again, schedule online, ZeroRezColumbia.com, or give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. ZeroRez, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
With approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details. It's JT's Jeep Ram 1-2-3 sale. 1. Save thousands on new Jeeps and Rams. 2. Pre-owned cars from just $12,990. 3. The best part, credit approval. JT's Jeep Ram is selling new Jeeps and Rams at tremendous savings. Pre-owned cars drastically reduced from $12,990. And if you take home $400 a week and have a steady job, JT can get you approved. Now through Saturday, JT's Jeep Ram 378 Lexington. JT'sJeepRam.com. Like Friday sales event.
I'm Taylor Bishotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. After recently changing their team name, could the Washington Commanders now be changing owners? Dan and Tanya Snyder announced they've hired a firm to explore a possible sale of the team. Forbes magazine reports 4 interested buyers have already contacted the Snyders. Elsewhere, could Odell Beckham Jr. soon be catching passes from Josh Allen? Bills general manager Brandon Beane was asked Wednesday if he had any interest in the free agent receiver. He replied, quote, OBJ is a heck of a talent. We'd be crazy not to at least look into it. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero reports the Rams turned down several trade offers for running back Cam Akers, and there is now hope he'll play for LA again after missing the past 2 games following some reported issues with the team. And new Dolphin Bradley Chubb will play this Sunday for Miami just 5 days after his trade from the Broncos. Miami general manager Chris Greer says he hopes to sign the Pro Bowl pass rusher to a new long-term deal. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
For all your printing needs this holiday, Staples has you covered.
I need custom printed holiday cards for my one-of-a-kind business.
Staples has you covered.
It's beginning to look a lot like I need custom party invites, fast.
I need cards for everyone who gave me a hand this year, without spending an arm and a leg.
Staples has you covered with personalized holiday cards and invites. And now save 40% on custom holiday cards and invitations. For everything you need printed, go to Staples, the working and learning store. In-store and online, ends 12/17. Exclusions and restrictions apply.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos, it was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. While supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation which vary.
Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know,
Just affect you from doing what you love to fix your job, your relationship, even simple things like eating bread. Hey, it's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Whether it's your hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. What about this exciting new cutting-edge treatment for pain caused by arthritis or injury? No drugs, no pain meds, and no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now 803-281-6862. Again, that's 803-281-6862. This coming week. Again, that's 803-281-6862. That's QC Connect. What we're talking about on 1075. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
(803-404-6100) can weigh in. We'll get you that full Marcus Satterfield audio coming up in the next hour. We'll let you listen to everything in context instead of just playing some some snippets and some clips here and there. Combine those two. I was going to say some clips and some snippets, but I just went with clippets because, you know, why say more words when you can just combine one? But we'll let you listen to what Satterfield had to say in context. You can hear the questions that are asked because I do think that's important. right? Like, instead of just playing small little segments, letting you hear the whole press conference if you haven't gone to Gamecocks Online and been able to hear it. It's worth listening to because there's so many questions. I don't know if anger is the right word. Maybe it is frustration, but I feel like we're past the point of frustration with the offense. I do feel like it's bordering on anger from fans because this isn't a bad football team, and there are not bad players. There is talented players on the offense. I mean, I'm not trying to sell you on this team, this offensive these offensive players being capable of going and winning the East. There still needs to be a few more playmakers, a little bit more speed here and there. But this shouldn't be what we saw on Saturday. And it shouldn't be a team that struggles to score in the first quarter in the first half. And so I'm thinking in terms of fans, we are moving more toward the anger side of things as opposed to frustration. You've seen enough from this offense that you know what it should be and what it shouldn't be. But when you listen to Marcus Satterfield talk about things, I want you to hear everything in context and not just in some of these little clips that we play because it'll give you a better idea of exactly what the question was and what exactly he was saying as it pertains to the question. It's a little bit easier to comprehend and understand, and then maybe get a little angry with it. 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. Rich, who's a big fan of Satterfield, says, let it go. How much can you bash one guy? Move on already. All right, Rich. Well, that's what everybody's doing. People are not happy. I don't know if you've taken the poll or the temperature of the room. People aren't happy right now with the offense, and I don't know if Rich Satterfield is wants to see another person or not. But yeah, people are not happy right now. And South Carolina was in a great position last week to become bowl eligible. To again, as I've said, you build upon, you take advantage of the circumstances in front of you. Nobody's trying to claim that Texas A&M is still the number 6 team in the country as they were at the beginning of the season. Texas A&M has a lot of problems on their own, but you took advantage of them. Missouri is a team who has some issues. They were not that was the best game Missouri, and I know I know what they did against Georgia, but Missouri's offense last week looked really good. I mean, it looked like a high profile offense, and the defense looked like the 85 Bears. South Carolina kind of helped them look that way. And it was still an opportunity at home to become bowl eligible, to build upon the momentum that had started with the Kentucky game, with the Texas A&M game. South Carolina simply did not do it. And now what you have to do here is move forward and try and get that win over Vanderbilt. And that comes this coming Saturday. The Gamecocks, overall, it is kind of weird that South Carolina has had the amount of success, even though we know what Vanderbilt is. South Carolina 27-4 all time against the Commodores. They've got a 14-2 record in games played in Nashville. South Carolina has just, for whatever reason, Vanderbilt's had some moments. Bobby Johnson was a solid coach, and certainly kind of in I say our time, but in the last 20 years, built Vanderbilt into a respectable unit, I guess is what you could say. And then James Franklin actually did some really good things and was able to turn that team into even more than what Bobby Johnson was able to do. And Vanderbilt has gone along at one point. I think South Carolina is the only team. I don't have the stat right in front of me, but I believe it's in the last 15 years. South Carolina is the only team, I think it's since actually the last 14 years, 2008, is the South Carolina is the only team that Vanderbilt has not been able to beat in the Eastern Division. I mean, think about that. The Gamecocks have been kind of perfect against the Commodores since losing up in Nashville on a Thursday night with Chris Smelly playing quarterback. So South Carolina has been strong in those games, and Vanderbilt will come into this one with a little bit of confidence. They've got a solid offense. I say solid. I shouldn't fear monger you, but Vanderbilt's got some players there offensively that are capable of taking advantage of you if South Carolina comes out and is flat. If the Commodores are a team that have done a little bit better under Clark Lee, they got off to the big start early on in the season. AJ Swain and Mike Wright are the two quarterbacks coming into the game. A.J. Swain has thrown for 8 touchdowns on the season. He's 94 of 163. He's completing 58% of his passes, just over 1,000 yards. Mike White, a little bit more of the runner of the group. He's had 38 carries for 294 yards on the season and 4 touchdowns. So he's more of the dual threat quarterback, whereas Swain will be more of the passer on the season. Swain just 16 rushes for 19 yards. So again, he's not going to be the guy that you look at keeping the ball and taking off around the end. But Vanderbilt's got some playmakers that can hurt you. Jaden McGowan, a kid from Lawrence, South Carolina, a speedster, has 34 receptions on the season for 391 yards. Will Shepard, who's 5th in the league, I believe maybe 6th, 5th or 6th. I haven't looked at the updated standings there in terms of overall receiving, but Will Shepard is a solid wide receiver, 41 receptions for 525 yards and 8 touchdowns. So they'll get him the ball in a variety of different ways and try to let him take advantage of a secondary. South Carolina's got to be ready to go. They've got to be ready to play both offensively and defensively. And we'll see if they're able to get out and do something like that. A couple of you also weighing in. John saying Satterfield will overcompensate trying to get Bell the ball this weekend, and a whole other set of problems will arise. I don't know if you can overcompensate. I mean, just getting Jaheim Bell the ball is a good plan. That's not exactly a bad idea, and we'll see if they're able to take advantage of it. And then another anonymous texter weighs in and says, Vanderbilt, we should have lost last year. South Carolina has just found ways to win in this series, 27-4 all time. And as I point all that out, Gamecock Bob says, way to call us perfect. Jinx us. Thanks, Bill. Sorry about that. Hopefully that won't come to fruition. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Jack wants to weigh in on this weekend's game. Jack, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Hey, bud, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good. I'm just getting off work. And I look. First of all, I just want to say I love your show.
Thank you.
In the mornings, I really do. I get off every morning around 6 o'clock, just when you get ready to come on. So I really do. I like not the 107.5 show anyway. But I really love your talk show. But I've been listening and listening pretty much all week long, just about since the beginning of the game. I might have called him 1 or 2 times, but we keep jumping at the Satterfield, and we keep. I'm not saying they so much jump on our quarterback there, Spencer Rattler, but we keep talking about that, and I'm not saying that they just like he said they're not perfect. Here's the thing, man. Something got to be done about this offensive line. The last caller you had came in, he was 100% right. You can put in your best plays. You can put in your worst plays. If you don't have that front line, you have nothing. Things are not going to go the way that it should go. What been bailing us out a lot? Special team, defense. Our defense even been poor this weekend. But we're not calling these players out on this line. They're not jumping on those players, not saying jump on them, but they're not getting into them to learn this. These young men came back this year, they said, because they want to prove a point. They want to show and give back, to the fans what they have picked up and learned. And they seem like they haven't gotten it. You can't put that on coaches. You can't put that. They got to go out and execute. That's all that's just my point. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but that's just my opinion when I hear it. Y'all have a blessed day.
Thank you for the phone call, Jack. Yeah, I will say that up until this past weekend, I thought the offensive line was playing better. And that's probably why I don't want to say I give them a pass, because they were awful this weekend, last weekend. But I thought the offensive line was playing better. You were seeing Marshawn Lloyd having some holes to run the football. I thought that Spencer Rattler was getting a little bit more time. Now, with that being said, as Jack just pointed out, this past weekend was really rough. The offensive line was very porous, and Spencer Rattler had zero time to be able to operate. I'm not trying to sell anybody on the offensive line or the talent on the offense as a whole being elite, But the offensive line, I think, had been average this year, which, again, is not good enough. You need them to be much, much better. But I thought over the last few weeks, really the last 4 games, they had made strides in the right direction. Last weekend was a huge step backwards. We'll see how they perform this weekend against Vanderbilt. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford. Noon to 3 on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program.
An accident at American Italian Way and Pineview Drive, an accident 77 northbound at Garner's Ferry, exit 9, an accident at Broad River near I-20, and disabled vehicles both 77 northbound and southbound at Blythewood Road, exit 27.
At the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program, they cover more federal employees, retirees, and their families than any other health plan. Now it's time to see what they can do for you. Learn more about healthy benefits at fepblue.org/wecan.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation.
There we go. Let's see here.
Generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient
Well, that hit.
as Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversation. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
How do I say that name? How do I say this name? Okay. Alrighty. Talmadge. Okay. Well, I got it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll do that top of the hour. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get that. Perfect. We'll play that in the second segment next hour.
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Exton with the Exton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're a local South Carolina law firm dedicated to resolving the tax problems for you. Simply put, we solve tax problems. If you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, have years of
All right, let's see. Jen has sent me an email.
show you how we will solve your problem and how much it will cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It's time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. Hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me, John X. It's JT's Jeep Ram 123 sale. 1. Save thousands on new Jeeps and Rams. 2. Pre-owned cars from just $12,990. 3. The best part, credit approval. JT's Jeep Ram is selling new Jeeps and Rams at tremendous savings.
All right, I've got Jen's email there. I'll have to come back to that. If you're, never mind. I'll do it at the start of 7 o'clock. Give these basketball tickets away. Wait till next time.
Here we begin 107.5.
Do it in the next hour. Do it probably the first segment, next hour.
If you want to weigh in, simple way to do that, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us via the Love Chevy phone lines. You can also send us a text message if you want to. A couple of y'all doing that. Papa Joe saying, why does it take us 8 games to realize that Jaheim Bell needs the ball? Kaiser weighing in and saying, Shane will lose my support if we lose to Vandy and we still don't make the change at offensive coordinator. Yeah, but if he makes a change in the offseason, which I think he will, I think a lot of people will jump back on board and be ready to go for next year. The key is getting bowl eligible with whomever is calling plays and just trying to keep some semblance of momentum moving forward. 803-404-6100. Again, you can join us as always from on the live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. Click, join, subscribe, be a part of the program there. Larry, Chuck, Craig, Zach, LeVar, all weighing in and discussing what we are talking about. And you can do so there on our live stream. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Talmadge, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Talmadge, how are you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you?
Doing good.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. What I wanted to say is I was excited about the hire of Shane Beamer, but now I'm kind of on the fence about it because listening to his conference yesterday with him talking about the packages that they have, and the last game when he said that he wanted them to have all the best players on the team, on the field at all times. And for you to have these packages and not have your best players on the field, I don't know. Sometimes some of the stuff he do makes me think that he may be in over his head a little bit. I see on the sideline whenever the coaches, he'll go up to his assistant coaches and he'll say something real quick and walk away instead of just getting on them like I think he should, And like, of course, we're not Clemson up, you know what I mean? But the thing about it is Dabo switched his quarterback up during the game. I don't understand why we can't do it to show the other team something that they haven't seen on film yet. I mean, not to say that we should just put, either one, either Doty or DK, you know what I'm saying? And then I watched the game over, and everybody talking about the offensive line. Sure, our offensive line can stand some improvement, but there's a lot of times that Spencer don't step up into the pocket. Every time he drops back and then he takes off, you know what I mean? Step up into the pocket, and for him to be a 5-star, I don't understand how he doesn't know how to step into the pocket. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'm gonna listen, see what you got to say about it. And thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call. And again, there has to be some development. I don't think it's all on Spencer Rattler. I think that there's things that he does that are positive. I think there is a lot of tools to which someone can work with, but I don't also see him being developed like you would want him to be developed. You don't see him coming along quite the same way. You don't see him growing into the offense. You actually see them seem to be going the other way, where he seems more confused than he was in game 1 against Georgia State. And so we'll continue to watch it, though. That's all we can do. We can complain all we want. We can yell and scream and have a temper tantrum. There's not much you can do. You have to just be ready for this coming Saturday. We'll get you ready for this coming Saturday. I will let you listen to that Marcus Satterfield interview in full so you can hear everything that was said. We'll get into the schedule for this weekend coming up in hour or two. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is for...
All right. Let's see here. This is a sleep number, so it'll go to Josh or wherever it needs to go in 3, 2, 1.
Waking up each and every morning, getting ready to do a sports talk show, I need a great night of sleep. And with a Sleep Number bed, that is precisely what I get. Bill Gunner for Sleep Number. Put that Sleep Number setting on 55, and I'll wake up rested, refreshed, and I'm ready to go each and every morning, all because of proven quality sleep. You can get the same. People ask why I choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number, and it's because to be your best each and every day, you need proven quality sleep each and every night. And right now, don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special. Save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed Plus special financing, subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. But this deal ends Monday, November the 7th, and it's only at a Sleep Number store. Two to choose from, one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall, and you can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Don't miss Sleep Number's weekend special going on right now. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. Wow.
Without going to court, even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-700-4333. That's 1-800-700-4333. 1-800-700-4333. The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. These vehicles are in demand and selling fast, so don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today.
I think I've got you set up over there, Coach. You might have some headphones. You might have I'm not real sure. Apologize. I am trying to fight this iPad. We can put them on the live stream as well. But
basically well-oiled machine. You're right on top of things. You've never prepared.
This iPad is dominating this morning. Like it is
Give away these basketball tickets here.
On your home of the game, guys.
Today's phrase of the day is
Give away these basketball tickets.
If you say I have no clue, this means I don't know. In fact, I don't even have any idea.
Eight 803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in on coming up in the next segment, we'll let you listen to the full Marcus Satterfield audio, mainly so that you can hear the questions and the answers. Sometimes it's not good to just play it, and I've got a cut list here in front of me, but it would be a lot easier for you to hear the questions and the answers so that maybe you understand it. Obviously, it is strange. I'll say this. It is strange to see how everything has flipped from a week ago. Nobody was thrilled with the offense 7 days ago on Thursday, heading into Missouri. Nobody was thrilled. And many of you were saying, well, if Missouri wins, it's because the offense couldn't get going. And I don't want to say you're completely right on that because the defense certainly had their own struggles in the first half, the first quarter really, but the first half, giving up the two long drives, 96 yards and 84 yards. The defense struggled and then did get their feet under them in the second half and held Missouri to just 6 points, 2 field goals. But, the offense was something that has been a concern. And then you get an offensive performance like that where everything really struggles. Excuse me. And now everybody, I think, really sees the issues and sees the problems. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But coming up,
I will give you a chance to listen to Marcus Satterfield in full so that you can hear the questions, you can hear the answers, you can hear the context, everything going on. But right now, let's give you a chance to win a pair of tickets. 803-404-6100. A pair of tickets to next Tuesday night's men's home opener. We'll take caller number 7 there, Mr. Ed. 803-404-6100. Let's give you a chance right now to win a pair of tickets to Lamont Paris's regular season home opener next Tuesday night at Colonial Life Arena. We'll take caller number 7 is who we'll take there. If you want to call in and win yourself a pair of tickets, seems like a good time to give those away. South Carolina with a nice performance last night against Mars Hill over at Colonial Life Arena exhibition game. They win 80-41 last night. Michi Johnson leading the team with 16 points, a very solid outing for him. And again, I think that's a guy, if you ask me, who has to lead this ball club. That is the guy who needs to be I'm not going with G.G. Jackson, but needs to be the leading scorer, needs to be the guy that helps South Carolina when they're in need of a basket. Johnson, having already played some college ball, again, you're talking about a guy who is a top 50 prospect initially. You're talking about a guy who's pretty well thought of or was thought of, I should say. And it just, for whatever reason, it didn't necessarily work at Ohio State. And now he's transferred down here to South Carolina. And everything I had heard in the preseason is that the change of scenery, a new coach, a new voice, whatever you want to say, was working really, really well for him. And that he was growing into the role. And last night looked comfortable from what I understand. Again, I was not able to go, had something come up and was not able to make it. But last night, 16 points for Michi Johnson and was a kid who's gone out and showed right now that he can take care of the basketball. I like this last night. 0 turnovers from the point guard position. For whatever it was, no answer. I have 0 answer as to after the Rakim Felder situation for Frank Martin. He was never able to land a legitimate, true point guard. Maybe Jacoby Wright was going to grow into that role. Obviously, Jacoby Wright still on the team last night, scored just 2 points, was 1 of 6 shooting, had 2 assists of his own against 1 turnover, played 16 minutes. But, for whatever reason, Frank Martin was not able to ever go out and land that point guard, that guy like he did with PJ Dozier and obviously also with Rakim Felder. And they tried. It wasn't for a lack of trying. I mean, Corey Holden never really developed. The injury, I think, really sidelined him. But South Carolina was never able to get a guy. Maybe Michi Johnson is that guy. 4 assists last night. I mean, his hands, his imprint was all over this game, shooting the ball fairly well, 5 of 13, 2 of 7 3-point range. I'm sure it'll make many, many, many of you happy that he was 4 of 4 from the foul line last night. Nice to see a guard make some free throws. The Gamecocks as a whole only shot 10 free throws, but they made 8 of them. 14 total turnovers for the Gamecocks. They also out-rebounded Mars Hill 47-32 last night. Again, Johnson with 16 points, 5 of 13 shooting, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 of 7 from 3-point range. Chico Carter Jr. with a very solid night, hit 3 out of 4 3-pointers, was 5 of 8 from the field, also chipped in 13 points in 28 minutes of action. And G.G. Jackson last night scoring 11 points, 4 of 10 from the field. He hit 1 3-pointer, but he also grabbed 7 rebounds. The one area of his game he's got to get a little bit better at, 4 turnovers last night. South Carolina finished the game with 14 total turnovers, and Jackson again having 4 of those. So tough night, kind of with what you would want from him. But the bottom line is all of him stood up. All 3 of those guys. That was your starting lineup, by the way. I should mention that it was Johnson and Chico Carter Jr. at the guards, G.G. Jackson at the 3 spot, Daniel Hankins Sanford playing the 4 spot, and Benjamin Bozeman Verdonic at the center spot. I guess we're calling him BBB, I believe is what we want to go with. The center, the Illinois transfer, 5 points last night. on 2 of 2 shooting. He did grab 12 rebounds, and so you like that from your center spot there as he's able to get in there and do some really nice things. Benjamin Bozeman Verdonic, I believe is how I'm supposed to say it correctly. 5 points last night. Again, 2 of 2 shooting in 20 minutes of action. The big stat to take away from that, 12 rebounds, very good for him against a opponent that he should kind of dominate. And then Daniel Hankins Sanford last night, the freshman, who I'm really a fan of. I think that this is a guy that Frank Martin is going to have left behind that will be very good for the program. He played last night 20 minutes, had 7 points on 3 of 9 shooting. He also took a 3-pointer and ended up scoring 7 points on the evening. A couple other statistics there just from last night. You had a Zach Davis coming off the bench, the another freshman that I've heard a lot of really good things about. He ended up last night with 10 points on the evening, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3-point range. A lot of people have asked about Josh Gray. Are we going to see Josh Gray develop a little bit? Is he going to be a bigger, better, badder, meaner player? Josh Gray last night, 19 minutes, very solid, grabbed 8 rebounds. Again, he should. He's a bigger guy there against a Mars Hill team that was undersized, and scored 9 points on 4 of 5 shooting in that ball game. So South Carolina as a whole last night picks up a nice win in an exhibition game, 80-41. It was 36-21 at halftime. The Gamecocks go on to score 44 points in the second quarter and again roll to a 80-41 victory over Mars Hill. Again, they'll take on South Carolina State next Tuesday. Will be the season opener over at Colonial Life Arena, and that'll be followed up by the big rivalry game against Clemson on Friday, November the 11th. So if you're not going down to Gainesville next weekend for the football game, November the 11th will be a very good time to get over to Colonial Life Arena and check out the action that Lamont Paris and his staff are going to provide. Should be, again, I said it yesterday, very, very interesting to watch the Gamecocks this coming season. I was kind of hoping to get over there last night, but was not able to make it. So don't really have a firsthand impression of what the team looked like, but I do look forward to catching them next week when they take the court for the regular season. We've given away a pair of tickets for the men's game. We'll give away a pair of tickets for the upcoming season opener for the women as well. So keep listening this morning. It's Bill Gunner. It's producer Ed Bird. It's the early game on 107.5, The Game. Yeah, I agree. I agree on Hankins. I think Hankins Sanford is going to be a solid player.
The Extra Point. 9 a.m. to noon. 107.5. The Game. Too many times are built crossing the railroad tracks, even though they know the train is inspiration. What they don't know is even after the brakes, the train can take up to a mile to stop. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by Nitsa. Pro Member is back at Lowe's, and so are the savings. Power the possibilities with savings on the DeWalt tools we trust get the job done. Like the DeWalt 16-piece reciprocating saw blade set. One is $29.98, now that's $18.98. And the DeWalt 14-piece assorted drill bit set. One is $16.98, now $9.98. These deals are tough to beat, so it's tools. It always pays to be a pro. Lowe's. Offer ends 12/28. Cost supply price. Select your installation. sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program.
The off-ramp is closed at 77 southbound at Garner's Ferry, exit 9 due to an accident. Also an accident at American Italian Way and Pineview Drive.
At the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program, they cover more federal employees, retirees, and their families than any other health plan. Now it's time to see what they can do for you. Learn more about healthy benefits at fepblue.org/begin. Wait. Tell me where'd you get that money from? Oh man, all this money came from 43money.com right online. Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you need? Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and man, $5 grand was in my account today. Straight up. Now hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5K like that? Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit. Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help you get the money I need back? If you need extra money back, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular social bank. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now, regardless of your credit. Go to 43money.com to get the money you need back. That's www.43money.com. Directly into your address bar. That's 43money.com. That's 43money.com. 43money.com.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer and all-time leading rusher with exciting news.
Football legend Emmitt Smith talking about all new regenerative treatments for joint pain from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics.
Did you know that you can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics?
QC Kinetics uses biologic therapies that are natural, restorative, and long-lasting.
The body is an amazing thing. Trust me, I put mine through a lot.
Exciting new relief this year for pain from arthritis, knee pain, lower back pain, pain in your hips and shoulders.
I'm that guy. When you Google shoulder pain, my face pops up.
But you don't have to be sidelined by pain anymore. Call QC Kinetics to learn more about biologic therapies.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love. There's a new natural solution that patients are raving about.
QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life.
Call QC Kinetics. 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860. It's not when it's 1, 2, 3, save 1. Save thousands on your Range Chargers and Challengers. 2 pre-owned cars for just $12.99. The best cars credit approved. Not when it's selling new Range Chargers and Challengers at tremendous savings. Pre-owned cars drastically reduced from $12.99. And you take home $400 a week and have a steady job. JTQ, get you approved. Now through Saturday. Dodgeland on Redstone, JTStocks.com. My Friday sales event. Strengthening the lives of children and families is a passion. Turn that passion into results as a child welfare case manager. Learn more at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
Makes a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews. You got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. He won this division 6 times in a row, and this will be 7th. What would this one mean, though?
I think it'd be special because, obviously the teams are great. All our teams are division great football teams that can win each and every week. But just to have some new guys and kind of integrate them into the culture that we have here in Kansas City, you can see they're really buying in.
Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Time now for the old-timey meat market clip of the day. This past New Year's Day, we lost one of the great Gamecock players on the great Gamecock ambassadors. When Dan Williams passed away, a few years ago, Dan did this. Mike Carolina has come on.
All right. Let's let you listen to.
And I could do something, play football and baseball, something I really enjoyed doing. It actually led to 39 years in the National Football League.
And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game With Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen. on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game. 107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in if you want to do so this morning as we roll along. Papa Joe asks on our text line, says, what is the status of Marshawn Lloyd? As of now, he's banged up, but he's good to go. He will play. I think maybe tonight you can hear Carolina Calls right here on 107.5 The Game with Shane Beamer from 6 to 7 o'clock. I'm sure we will get a little bit of an update on the injury situation. My guess, just knowing Shane so far now through 21 games, is he will be a little tight-lipped on just how severe that quad bruise is. But from everything I've heard, Marshawn Lloyd should be good to go on Saturday night. Yesterday, South Carolina offense coordinator Marcus Satterfield spoke, and I want you to hear the whole press conference. I've got a cut list. They've worked very hard on this for me, but listening to certain clips or snippets, it can be a little difficult. I want you to hear the whole thing because certainly we've talked a lot about Marcus Satterfield this week. We've talked a lot about the offense and what's taking place and, why it's not working and what seems to be the issues. Yesterday, I don't want to say there was tension in the room. I don't want to say that there was terse, but the bottom line is you had a press conference with a coach who's, I don't know how exactly to describe his seat other than scalding. It's a very interesting situation, I think is the best way to describe it. So let's let you listen. It's about 10 minutes. Let's let you listen to the entire Marcus Satterfield press conference in full. You can hear the questions. You can hear the answers. You can hear the pauses. You can hear everything that goes along with it. And that's kind of what I want you to pick up here as we talk about this situation. So here's Marcus Satterfield yesterday meeting with the South Carolina media and everything that was said.
What were your just general thoughts on how things went on Saturday, just across the board?
It was very disappointing. Just the production, the execution, everything. I thought we had a really good week of practice. I thought our guys were ready to go, and we never could get going. Couldn't get a first down to stay on the field.
Sat, you mentioned having a good week of practice and it didn't translate. Where, as you kind of look back on it, where was the disconnect from a good week of practice to not really translating on the field?
That's a great question. I wish I knew that. It's what we continue each week, each month. As a coach, that you try to find how can you make sure that your guys stay consistent. You always worry about that after you have a couple of weeks of success of making sure that everybody keeps that edge about them, the strain about them. And I thought that our guys did. It didn't show up on Saturday.
Sad a lot of the guys were in here yesterday saying that it seemed like Missouri knew what was coming, specifically later in the game. They'd raise their hands if it was a pass play in that instance. Mm-hmm. Going back to look at the tape, could you find ways where you guys were tipping what was coming?
I think that they did a really nice job of scouting us. I think they did a really nice job of watching us on the sideline and gathering tendencies. You always worry about it, for years now. It's kind of been a trend on defense. The D lineman can see how much weight is on the hand of the offensive lineman. You'll see, all kinds of people in our conference throw their hands up to alert pass, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, and sometimes it's tendencies of, demeanor of offensive linemen, quarterbacks, running backs. So, we've done a real deep dive starting on Sunday night. Zeb and those guys did a really nice job of finding some things that, we need to make sure we're changing up so we aren't giving, tips to other teams.
Yeah, Coach. Shane obviously was talking about the different personnel packages and how difficult it is to, I guess, include certain players in certain plays. Can you talk some about what challenges that might present trying to get, certain players the ball on certain plays, or even getting certain players on the field just in different setups?
Yeah, you try to have a feel for how the game's going to go and how you're going to play the game, and then you want to maximize the personnel and who's out there. Obviously, you have certain personnel groups, certain formations that, for different parts and segments of the field, different down and distances. And, sometimes you're right on and sometimes you're not. We got caught this past week. We had 4 possessions in the first half. We had, 3 and out or 5 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then a 16-play drive. So the 16-play drive was a lot of 2-minute tempo stuff. So you go into halftime and you've done nothing from a game plan standpoint of setting up anything. You can't stay out there long enough. So we didn't get to a lot of the plays that we had practiced all week. which could be good or bad because now we can carry him over and, work him this week.
I'm sure coming out of any game, there are probably some things you'd like to have back or changes you wish you could have done, whatever. Is there anything that specifically when you look back at Saturday that you thought could have been better?
Obviously, yeah. I mean, there's, you'd love to if I had a pause and rewind button on every play, I'd like to do certain things different on most of them. So, I think we just got to, if you watch the first half, it's a block here, a decision here, a call here. It was one of those days where things were not trending in our direction, at least offensively. I would, the one thing I would, just going back and looking at the game, I think that with 11 minutes, 12 minutes, like we were already in what we would call rally mode because we were 2 touchdowns down. So we were having to play fast and try to get chunks and try to save timeouts and try to score. I probably, if I had a do-over, would go back and just play that as a true possession of just if it takes 8 minutes, it takes 8 minutes, but just go get a touchdown, run your offense. So I probably got to rally a little bit too early. That'd probably be the one thing that I'd look at.
Marcus, Shane told us yesterday that he had a conversation with Jaheim about his playing time and told him that he should be on the field more. Have you also had a conversation with Jaheim? And if so, what was that like?
It's funny, not funny, but it is kind of funny that like Jaheim and I, like he's one of my favorite players on the team. Like there's not a morning I don't walk by him and we hug. Like, yeah, I want him to get on the field. I want him to, touch the ball a lot. Obviously, the other day, his certain packages and stuff, like we were talking about going into the rally mode, he wasn't in those packages. And I should have just slowed down, stopped, realized, got him on the field, and gave him a chance to get some balls. But, he's going to have chances every game. It's just whether the ball gets to him or not. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So, we're going to continue to make sure that we put him in opportunities to get the ball. And, when he does, it's special.
You went pretty screen pass heavy in the second half, especially with the horizontal. Was that kind of a substitute for the running game with Lloyd out, or was those part of those rally mode packages? Kind of what was going through your head there?
Well, it got to be a real thick drop back game, and they were getting a good pass rush on us, and I was just trying to slow down the pass rush and let Spencer have some plays where he just throws it out there, and then obviously. That was a crushing blow when Marshawn got banged up and he would be there for a play and then he'd be gone. And then, he was fighting his butt off. It just, it comes to a point where he couldn't do it.
Hey, Marcus, a lot of the guys yesterday talked about execution being kind of the thing they felt like was missing against Missouri. Is that something that you're able to change at this point in the season with only a couple of games left? And kind of what does that look like, refining those details at this stage?
Yes, I think practice is how you get the execution, and they were executing. The thing about football and team sports is 10 people could execute and 1 not, and it turns into a train wreck. So, just the practice, just making sure we're in situations and stressful situations where we're putting the pressure on all 11 guys to make sure that they're almost perfect on every play, and I think that would translate over to the game.
Marcus, you're about 2/3 of the way through the regular season now. As you sit here holistically on this offense, how good of a job do you feel like you and the staff have done in trying to maximize this offense's potential?
I mean, I think we've given it everything we've got. I think that we continue to work hard. And I think that, we continue to have the trust of our players. And I think that, we've shown games where we've been productive and ran the ball and threw and caught the ball and scored touchdowns. And there's games where we haven't. So we're still, again, not a young football team, but we're still early on in the stages. But Spencer's first year, and just trying to build and mold what we ultimately want to look like as an offense. Certain pieces have been available, certain pieces haven't been available. But I just think that moving forward, I think that based on this week and how Spencer's attacked it and how everybody's attacked it, I think we're going to continue to get better.
Thank you. When you lose a player like Marshawn after his first carry, and I imagine that you game planned a lot during the week to have him there, how much does that affect what you're trying to do? And were you somewhat disappointed that the next guy's up maybe couldn't keep it going in the running game?
The next guys up, I mean, are not disappointed in them at all. I think when you start, Marshawn Lloyd, I think is a really, really, really talented back that, we kind of fell accustomed to. You give him 5 carries, he's probably going to break off a 12 or 14-yard run every 3 carries. And so that allowed us, as an offense to sustain drives, get first downs. I think it became a lot harder to move the ball and get first downs when we lost him, for sure. That was a struggle.
Kind of sticking with the running back, but if Marshawn is somewhat limited against Vanderbilt, what's the plan there? And is Jaheim someone that could potentially get some carries in a thin running back room right now?
Yeah, we got a lot of guys that, played running back in high school, but, all hands on deck, whether it be quarterback runs, backup quarterbacks that played in the bowl game, receivers that played running back, receivers that returned kickoffs back 109 yards. Like, everybody's going to have a chance to see what they can do on Saturday night with the ball.
Kind of sticking with that, looking ahead to Saturday, what does jump out about Vanderbilt's defense and maybe those linebackers, especially that Shane was talking about them a little bit yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, Zero is unbelievable. He's all over the place. He's disruptive. He's disruptive in the run game. He's disruptive in third down in the pass rush. He gets involved in the pass rush in the games. Just a very talented player, productive player. I think just from a schematic standpoint, very tough, hard-nosed. They're going to make you earn everything that you get. And then on certain down and distances, they make it tough on you with, certain types of pressures and simulators that they bring on certain down and distances that we got to be ready for.
Juju was getting the number 2 snaps when Marshawn went out. With him, not the biggest guy. It seemed like they were really just kind of overwhelming him at the point of attack. Can you effectively run him between the tackles with his size limitations?
I think he will try. Like, he'll go in there and he'll run into a wall, without a helmet on if you ask him to. But no, I don't think you can physically, sustain a game of him doing that. I think that, you got to get Juju and some bigger guys in there when you're running in between the tackles. And, Juju is a better runner whenever he doesn't have to go and carry, 5 to 7 times inside the tackle box and get, beat up a little bit by those big guys.
Sat Spencer after the game said that they didn't feel like they had a good enough idea of what was going on or knowing what to do as a coaching staff. How do you look at that? How do you see that? And what can y'all do to make sure guys maybe know the game plan a little bit better?
Yeah, he was laughing about that Sunday, just how it was misinterpreted. Like, I can promise you he knew what to do. And, Coach Beamer sits in our quarterback meetings every day and listens to it. And, through the progression of teaching, installing, like, Spencer knew exactly what to do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You heard it. That's why I wanted you to listen to the whole press conference. If you had a chance, if you're driving to work, getting the kids to school, whatever, I wanted you to hear everything in its entirety and be able to take into context what was said, both the questions and the answers, because, it's fair for this program to move forward. There's a lot of really good things happening at South Carolina. Shane Beamer's done a lot of really good things. He really has. I wouldn't be out on Shane Beamer. I get that maybe his timeline and what you want in terms of your timeline with making a change at offensive coordinator are not the same. I understand that. And I get where people are coming from. But with that being said, this is something that is holding the program back. And there's no question. And it's either got to improve dramatically or a change has got to be made. It's one of the two. This cannot continue to be the status quo going into, first off, they need to become bowl eligible. Okay? Regardless of good, bad, whatever, South Carolina needs to keep some form of momentum going by becoming bowl eligible. When you win this weekend, you need to go win, and it's not a sure thing, which stinks. But you need to go win, and then who knows? Maybe magic shows up and things click, or the defense plays out of its mind down in Gainesville. Who knows? It's a winnable game. But there's a lot of good things happening under Shane Beamer's watch. If you look at the recruiting, you see the way the stadium's being renovated and the LED lights and the atmosphere that is being built. A lot of good things are happening. But there's no question right now that the offense is holding this program back from taking the next step. There's no question. And again, however Shane wants to go about fixing that in the offseason, and that's when it'll happen, it needs to be done. And that's why I want you to be able to listen to that press conference from yesterday with Marcus Satterfield, the offense coordinator, in full. and understand both what he's saying and the questions that are being asked and how he is responding to them. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Ty wants to weigh in this morning on yesterday's press conference with Marcus Satterfield. Ty, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Good.
I mean, I don't know how Shane Beamer can listen to that and not be like, okay, I'm making a change in it. His only job is to be an offensive coordinator, and he say the most craziest things to me. He said, "Oh, I'm in rally mode because we was down 14 points in the first half." Well, yes, slow the game down. Take 8 minutes, throw them out their rhythm, get your defense who was struggling time on the side field. You're supposed to slow the game. You don't speed the game up. Why would you do that? You slow the game down, get them out their rhythms, let your defense relax on the sidelines, rally, get together, and then work from there. Then you're not down 14, you're down 7. Now they're out their rhythm, they're trying to do something, and then your defense can come back. I don't understand why he's like, oh, I'm in rally mode. I couldn't put Jaheim Bell in because he's in rally mode. What? Your job is not to be that. You're supposed to be the person who's not flustered. You're supposed to have plans. You're supposed to already know this type of stuff. This is not even like behind the scenes type of stuff. Everybody knows football is about rhythms. Football is about working with your defense. Your defense struggling, you need to slow the ball down. If your defense going, yeah, go ahead and speed it up. Because you want to play fast at that point. And then he's like, oh, yeah, me and Jaheim hug all the time. Okay, but you're not getting him in the game because you obviously get flustered during the game and forget your best players. If one of my best players go down, guess what? My next best player, what's the things he do best? I already should have packages. So, okay, Jaheim time, let's make sure we get him into position to score. It's just like, he don't understand the easiest concepts about being an offensive coordinator. And the stuff he said just solidified. I don't know if he thinks that, hey, this is a great answer. Maybe they understand then. Oh, and then he said, Spencer Rattler's in his first year. He's only supposed to be here 1 year. What are you talking about? Like, you only keep these guys for 2 years, most backs, especially if they're producers. So, I mean, his whole mindset is just weird to me. Like, I don't know if he still got the mindset of NFL or what. It's just, if you listen to him talk, it's just not a college offensive coordinator mindset. And I'll get off the phone. It just boggles my mind. He said that out loud to people. So I'll go.
Appreciate the phone call. That's the best ending to a phone. I'll go. Ty, thank you. I understand where you're coming from, buddy. A lot of people on our live stream, Martia saying caller is nailing it. Larry saying he's right. Craig saying love this guy. He's me. You did a good job. I love the ending though. I'll go. I've had enough. I'll just go. 803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in, we'll get back into some basketball discussion, and we will look ahead to the weekend that will be we'll look ahead to the weekend that will be for college football season. I appreciate each and every one of you being a part of the program. Ty, that was a great phone call. And again, everybody that weighs in, love y'all being part of the early game family each and every morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner. He's producer Ed Bird. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The OGs of 107.5 The Game. Jay Phillips, Heath Klein, and Tommy Moody. Sharing their memories of 107.5 The Game and celebrating our 15th anniversary. Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Just download the 107.5 The Game app or go to 107.5thegame.com to check out the podcast. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Oh, getting a great night of sleep. That is imperative to a great day. I'm telling you what, with a sleep number bed, that is exactly what I get each and every night. I put that sleep number setting on 60 and I'm ready to go. I'm telling you what, I am ready to come in here and handle anything that pops up, and you can do the exact same right now. You can save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed plus special financing, but only for a limited time, subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. People always ask, why choose proven quality sleep from Sleep Number? The answer is simple. Because to be your best every day, you need proven quality sleep. So don't wait any longer. Visit a Sleep Number store and check out a great Sleep Number bed. 2 stores to choose from. One in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, 2 Notch Road across from Two Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. And again, you can always visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Right now, save 40% on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed. There is special financing involved, but it's only for a limited time. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Traditions with good news if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Traditions, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you
That phone call is what's great about Sports Talk Radio. He had just punched himself out. He was so upset. He punched himself out and just said, I'll go. I've had enough. I'll go. That was good. I agree with everybody. York, thank you for your service. Oh boy. That was funny. I enjoy that. I think I had tears. Oh boy. Oh, let's get into morning stretching here. Oh. Oh, I've got to get to the gym today. I've struggled lately with everything going on. Oh.
If you have leaks, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midsstateroofing.com. Welcome to Clean Healthy Homes. By calling
I need to come up. Does anybody have, make sure my mic's on. Does anybody have like a good guacamole recipe? I think I want to make some guacamole this weekend. I'm trying to think. I'm coming up with a nice menu because it's the first Saturday I've had where I don't have anything to do. All right. Gonna go 3-4-1 here. We'll see what we can get in before the break. 803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in, we've talked a lot about South Carolina's exhibition game last night, 80-41 victory over Mars Hill. If you want to weigh in on that, feel free to do so. Again, we talked a lot about it. So Michi Johnson with a solid night. If you want to weigh in, that's why I let you listen to the entire Marcus Satterfield press conference. And if you want to weigh in on that, certainly you can do so. And I think some of you want to. So we've got a couple different topics out there as it pertains to South Carolina athletics. Again, South Carolina's basketball exhibition victory. We'll see the real thing next Tuesday night against South Carolina State when they get going. But again, we have spent plenty of time discussing that this morning, and you're more than welcome to call in if you went to the game and want to weigh in. That is no problem. But also, again, Marcus Satterfield speaking to the media. And let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Casey wants to weigh in on yesterday's press conference. Casey, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind? I'm doing great.
The coordinated or offensive side. So I don't know if firing is the right word to use. But what I'll say is Shane Beamer being the head coach can maybe demote Marcus and put him in a better position to be successful himself. Because I want people to be successful. I don't want to just throw them in the wind. But let's find out what Marcus is great at. And let's put him in that position and then maybe bring in another offensive coordinator who is a little bit more seasoned, who will know these things on how they're supposed to run a game with rhythm and stuff like that. So, mostly I don't want to talk about firing anybody because I don't think that's the right way to go. But putting Marcus in a position to succeed for himself and getting us somebody who can help us succeed, that's Shane Beamer's job. It all starts from the top, baby. Shane Beamer needs to do a better job coaching his staff. That's what I got to say.
Appreciate the phone call, Casey. Let's stay on the Love Chevy phone lines. Tim wants to go another direction. Tim, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm good. How are you? Listen, I what I'm gonna say might be rambled here. I mean, and y'all need to understand, I'm a Vol fan, and I married a woman 36 years ago that probably wouldn't have married me if I hadn't come over to the Gamecock side pretty much. I pull for the Gamecocks till they play in the Vols, then I bail out. But that being said, a lot of these people calling in, about the coordinators, coaches, and all this, and that, and other. I played football a long time, and I coached it a while. This thing, these guys know football. At some point, all you can do is set your people up to best succeed. And Shane said himself that, and I do think Shane Beamer's the right guy for South Carolina wholeheartedly, but he said himself, what they were doing in practice didn't translate to the field. Okay. At some point, the players have got to say, this is on me. When they gave me an assignment and said, this is what you've got to do, you've got to do that. Does that make sense the way I'm saying it? At some point, it falls on the players to run these plays like they're running them in practice. If they're going out on the field, then somebody's missing a block. Somebody ain't picking this up. Somebody ain't picking that up. The quarterback ain't seeing the open man. He's not throwing it. He's not catching it. You understand what I'm saying? At some point, the players have got to perform on what they're being told to do. I understand you've got to call plays to your strengths, but they should be doing that. Anybody knows anything about football, you're seeing in practice what you can and can't do. So you don't go on Saturday and start doing all kinds of stuff crazy. Right here's what we're able to do. This is what we need to try to do. And it's on the players whether they carry it out or not. That's about all I got to say.
I appreciate the phone call, Tim. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on a lot of what you're saying. I do think that there's an element there. You've got to put your guys in position to succeed. And, right now, when I watch, and, it's just me, and then everybody else has their own opinion, you're seeing a lot of plays that are either at the line of scrimmage, passes that are out bubble screens, or you are seeing 15, 20-yard passes. And right now, I don't want to. The offensive line was bad. We all agree on that on Saturday. Look, the whole operation was bad on Saturday. Offensive line, quarterback play, wide receiver play, running back, the whole thing stunk. So it's a little unfair to single out just one particular area, but the whole operation stunk. But I do think there's an element here that there are certain ways that players are not being utilized. I know Heath Klein. I think it's bothered Heath more than anybody. And Heath's not a fan. Heath is as impartial as they come on this station in particular, and probably in this town. Heath calls it. I know the old adage: you call it as you see it. But Heath is as good as anybody at doing that. And I think it's bothered Heath more than anybody in this town that Juju McDowell was being run up the middle or that was in pass blocking situations. And again, Heath's not a fan. Heath is I'm a fan. I love doing this show, and I'm going to be blunt about who I am and what I am, and go with my son and enjoy it and try to enjoy it the best I can. This was not a game that we enjoyed, but I think Heath Klein was just as angered as some of you out there that Juju McDowell is back there blocking, trying to pick up the blitz, or that he's being run up the middle, and that's putting guys in a position to succeed because Juju McDowell can be a playmaker in this offense, but you've got to put him in space. You've got to put him in positions to succeed, and the same goes for a Jaheim Bell or for an Austin Stogner or any player that you want to mention, Juice Wells, Josh Van, Jalen Brooks. You get the point. Certain players are not made for certain plays. Ryan Helinski, when he was here, great kid, great play. He was not a zone read quarterback. Not that they put him in that. I'm just pointing out Ryan Helinski was not going to be a zone read quarterback. Blake Mitchell, when he was here under Steve Spurrier, would have not been a zone read quarterback. You put your players in a position to utilize their skill set best. And I'll got to hit a break, but I'll say this again. When I talk about utilizing players, because he's been very vocal, and I should really see if I can get him on the program to let him express his opinions, because I think he's made a lot of good ones on Twitter. Savell Newton has made a lot of really good points on Twitter this week. I will always contend, giving his athletic ability, if Savell Newton had followed Connor Shaw because of what Savell was, and by the time that Steve Spurrier figured out how to use with G.A. Mangus and Sean Elliott and all those guys, Savell Newton would be one of the best quarterbacks ever in the history of South Carolina if he'd have followed Connor Shaw when Steve Spurrier saw how to utilize a running quarterback. And that's putting your guys in a position to succeed. And I think we all can kind of agree. I'm not sure that's happening with this offense. And that's what is most infuriating right now. 803-404-6100. I see you still on the Love Chevy Funds. I want to get to you as well. You're listening to the early game. 107.5 The Game.
Game time with Heath Klein.
What I don't understand is some of the inability as the game goes on to adjust, to figure out a way to try and give yourself something more effective than some of these drives that we're seeing. And on that drive, with 2 completed passes,
All right. Stretching during those phone calls there as we. Oh, yeah. Good and loose today on it.
This time, the on-ramp closed is 77 southbound at Connor's Ferry, exit 9, due to an accident.
Expect Millions jackpot for Friday is $119 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds in a store near you. Life matters. The Hiding Place is more typical story about Ocean in a secret room of Nazis. Corey and family were eventually sent to themselves, and it was there that her sister Betsy died. The story's difficult and emotional. Betsy was close. Then a bittersweet reunion occurred. On April 15th, 1983, Corey went to heaven. My mind immediately went to her long life of teaching everyone there is no one so deep that God's love is. My wife's response was different. Her first words were, "Oh wow, she's with Betsy again." It was at that moment that heaven changed her. Instead of hard playing games, I thought in terms of healing and restoration. Heaven really is a place where God said everything. This is Pastor Steve Chetty reminding you that life matters. So be you. Go to CLColumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service.
Gamecock fans, are you ready? New for 2022, we have Legacy Headwear, Columbia Sportswear, shirt, hats, and jackets. Ladies, if you felt left out in the past, feel that way no more. Gamecock Traditions is focused on giving you the latest styling and insightly made just for you. Looking for kids stuff, infant, toddler, youth, or fall clinical this year at Gamecock Traditions. So come by today or stop by on your way to the game. Gamecock Traditions and GamecockTraditions.com. Your one-stop Gamecock shop.
Repeat after me. I, Kevin, will take you, Susan. I, Kevin, take you, Susan.
No, it's all right. I can talk. Progressive protects you 24/7, which means you can contact us anytime. Getting a loud sound, so I'm gonna talk louder. What can I help you with today? Oh yeah, of course let me do that. Hold on, let me put you on speaker.
As the United States Postal Service, we're here to deliver fast and reliable service to help you get holiday ready. We offer free package pickup and deliver free shipping supplies to your address. So whether you're in Garland, Texas, Rudolph, Wisconsin, or anywhere in between, we're making it easier for you to spread festive cheer this holiday season. USPS, delivery for America. For all your holiday needs, including info about free shipping supplies, free package pickup availability, and restrictions, go to USPS.com/holidays.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and he ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had. He needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Edson and his law firm ended up giving us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Edson law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, you're definitely people you should call.
Great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Exton with the Exton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. If you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today. 771-9800.
Money line parlay. LSU at home. Let's look at that.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. On your home in Gamecock. 1075 The Game.
803-404-6100, about a minute left in the hour. Went a little long in the last segment. That's a user error on my fault, but let's try and get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Wayne wants to talk about the South Carolina offense quickly. Wayne, got about a minute. How you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
With their zest to want to get the ball because they're a hot read and missing blocks. I see offensive lines just running a pattern and not picking up on the check because Spencer's not calling the right check. Okay? Receivers need to recognize when their quarterback's in trouble and adjust their routes. There are little things, but it's all over the place, and the coordinator does do that. Maybe we do need another coach back there. I think your other caller is correct. Maybe he's better in another position, maybe quarterback coach or something. Maybe we just need to figure out the formula, but it's not just one person. It's not just my
Appreciate the phone call, Wayne. We got to hit a break. I apologize, but good thoughts. Early game, 107.5 The Game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. you at KTFM, Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. It's JT's Jeep Ram 1-2-3 sale. 1. Save thousands on new Jeeps and Rams. 2. Pre-owned cars from just $12,990. 3. The best part, credit approval. JT's Jeep Ram is selling new Jeeps and Rams at tremendous savings. Pre-owned cars drastically reduced from $12,990. And if you take home $400 a week and have a steady job, JT can get you approved. Now through Saturday, JT's Jeep Ram 378 Lexington. JT'sJeepRam.com. Black Friday
At the
sales.
Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Welcome your guest into a clean, healthy home this Thanksgiving by calling the cleaning pros at Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. Their patented no residue cleaning system gets your carpets, rugs, and upholstery insanely clean. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards before. Is the right? Are you sick and tired of living with that constant pain in your knees and back? You know, joint pain doesn't just affect you from doing what you love. It affects your job, your relationships, even simple things like getting dressed. Hey, it's Bill Gunner. It's time to call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses advanced regenerative medicine to restore and repair damaged joint tissue, giving you your life back. Whether it's your hips, shoulders, elbows, they can all be treated with natural biologics from your own body. Powerful healing agents, highly concentrated. If you're tired of steroid shots that don't work, or if you're trying to avoid surgery, call QC Kinetics now to schedule your free consultation. Learn about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. No drugs, no pain meds, and no downtime. This is an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People here are raving about the results. Call now, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Appointments are available this coming week. Again, that's 803-281-6860. That's
available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WIN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WIN.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
So we have Bill doing some housekeeping right now. Pretty fantastic. I'm like, a little to the left, a little to the left, a little to the right, up a little bit more.
And Jen Jensen.
Decorating the studio at 6:37 in the morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner and Jen Jensen. If you're watching on the live stream, you're seeing us entertain ourselves by trying to move a flag around and get it stuck to the wall, and that led to.
But then the right was down a little bit. It's like, you gotta get it level.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
You're not going to believe this.
107.5
They killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator.
The Game.
We're rolling along on a Thursday morning. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to the women's season opener next Monday night. You can go check out Dawn Staley's group. So in about 20 minutes, we'll not only be joined by Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com to make some picks for the coming weekend, but we will also give you a chance to win some tickets to the women's season opener. Last night, the men opened their they played their exhibition game. I shouldn't say they opened their season. That'd be a little bit fraudulent, but they played their exhibition game. Mars Hill was the opponent, former Gamecock Larry Davis, bringing in his ball club, and South Carolina rolls 80-41. I don't ever know what you take away, good or bad, from exhibition games. To be honest, there's nothing that last night that I think you should disappoint you or excite you. South Carolina did shoot the ball better. I think that was an interesting stat from last night. The Gamecocks 10 of 26 from three-point range. They were 31 of 65 overall. Michi Johnson led the team, 16 points and 4 assists on 5 of 13 shooting. He nailed 2 3-pointers out of his 7 attempts. G.G. Jackson, 4 of 10 from the field last night, did hit a 3-pointer. He scored 11 points and grabbed 7 rebounds. I'll continue to say this team is going to go as Michi Johnson goes. If Michi plays well, South Carolina's going to have a chance. If he doesn't, it's going to be a long night. That's the best way to describe it. But the Gamecocks last night, rolling along. Zach Davis, the freshman. I think Frank Martin left 2, maybe 3 if you count Jackson in there. 3 very good recruits here. I like Zachary Davis. I like Daniel Hankins Sanford, who got the start last night. The forward out of Charlotte scored 7 points last night, 3 of 9 shooting, hit a 3-pointer as well. Only concerning statistic, he had 1 rebound. He's going to have to do a little bit better. But it was a very solid night all the way around. 80-41, the final again. The Gamecocks up 36-21 at halftime, outscore Mars Hill 44-20 in the second half, and they roll along. Chico Carter Jr. with a very solid night, 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 4 from three-point range. I like the make. I do. I'm not sold on how good this team is. If you gave me over under 500 record, I'd take the under. But I do think they have some solid shooters. Now, you get into SEC play, the athleticism of the SEC is going to be elite. This conference is really taking steps forward in terms of its play of basketball. It's not just Kentucky and 13 other little minions running around. As a conference is very strong. Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn, Arkansas is the Final Four candidate. Alabama, I want to know more about with Nate Oates this year after some losses and some guys coming in. But this is a very solid conference. Mike White going to Georgia, I think, is a good pickup for Georgia. Todd Golden going to Florida. We'll see how that works. So there's a lot there with this particular conference, but it's going to be an interesting year. RL asks, did Michi and Gigi play a lot of minutes last night? Michi last night got 28 minutes of action. Again, he was 2 of 7 from three-point range. That's a stat you kind of keep up with there. And then Gigi last night, for some reason, my statistics just completely blanked out on me, so I'm not real sure what he did, but I think I'll get that back up here. I was just sitting right there in front of me and apparently decided what didn't want to work anymore. But Gigi last night with 11 points and 7 rebounds. Solid night for him, and I'll get you his minutes here in just a second if we can get those back up. But again, a night that South Carolina should be pretty happy with. They'll be able to build upon that, take that back to the practice court. And again, South Carolina will open their season next Tuesday night against South Carolina State. Jackson played 23 minutes last night for the Gamecocks. So if you want to weigh in on basketball, 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program. If you want to weigh in, and we've obviously been talking a lot about the offense. I mean, that's been the topic du jour all week is South Carolina's offense. Will it improve? What will happen with it? Will the same coaches be involved with it next year? There's so many different directions to go with it, even quarterback discussion, which we had yesterday. So a lot there to get into, and a lot of you have weighed in. We let you listen to the entire Marcus Satterfield press conference a little bit earlier because I wanted you to be able to hear the context of both the questions and the answers instead of just the little snippets that we have been playing here, that some of them last 25 seconds, some of them last 30 seconds. But this way you'd be able to hear what exactly was said. And a lot of you have wanted to weigh in on that. Todd wants to weigh in right now on Marcus Satterfield's press conference from yesterday. He's waited patiently. Todd, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Very, very well. Boy, I listened to his press conference, and I think we got a major problem that Shane Beamer cannot dance around any longer. I think it's going to become one hell of a distraction. Josh Mann earlier in the year made a comment about he called a play that they had practiced in 3 weeks, and I kind of kind of caught my attention, but then I was like, you know. And now I listened to his press conference yesterday, and I am more convinced that Shane's hand is going to be forced. And this is going to get talked about nationally, locally, and I think this will become such a distraction on and off the field that it's going to affect some games here down the stretch that we have a chance to win and may get a big fat L. I don't know what in the hell to expect Saturday in Nashville. I'm more than worried. I don't know, man. It just boggles me that a Power 5 program, we have these issues right now. I don't know why I haven't been nipped in the bud, or I mean, hell, I'd rather have guys just give a standard canned BS answer that you know is BS, but at least it doesn't create more questions and more problems, if you get my drift. I mean, it's like the more Satterfield answers the questions, the more this, balloon gets blown up. I don't know, Bill, but I did go to the men's game last night, and Zachary Davis caught my eye, but I don't know, Bill. It just boggles my mind that hell, I'm lost for words.
I can see that. Yep, I can hear that.
I guess I'll go to work.
Yeah. Thank you for the phone call, Todd. Be like Ty earlier said, I'll go. Yeah, thank you for the phone call. Look, South Carolina, they're not going to be a favorite in Gainesville. I just can't. I don't know what scenario. I don't really know what the. I can't see a scenario where South Carolina is a favorite in Gainesville. So quite frankly, they'll be favored this weekend, and then that'll be it. And I got a feeling that after the Tennessee game, a lot of you may very well end up being upset with the defensive coordinator. That offense may be put on the back burner the way Tennessee is ripping and tearing through everybody. So, with all that being said, I think that this will get handled. I think that after the Clemson game, everything will get resolved and we'll move forward. And what I honestly believe, because I've done radio now for my daughter's 13, so I've done it for 13 years, and I've been with this station since 2016, so 6 years. There's going to be I believe there will be a new person in charge of the offense starting in December and maybe January, and that there will be renewed excitement, and that there will be expectations that are far too large for that new offensive coordinator to live up to. And we'll move forward, and we'll get ready for North Carolina and Charlotte next year. And a lot of people will expect the second coming of the 2000 St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf. So, everybody will jump back on board. I think that it will get handled. I think people are just going to have to be patient over the next 4 weeks and allow this process, even though it's not on the timeline you may want, that it'll get handled. 803-404-6100. Again, coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll be joined by Brian Edwards, a Vegas insider. He'll give you his picks for the week. A couple of you weighing in. Richard saying, do not be shocked if a kid down from close to my hometown, Zachary Davis, outperforms Gigi this year. Davis can handle the ball and score with good height. Yeah, Zachary Davis last night, another freshman, recruited to South Carolina by Frank Martin. Very solid night for him last night. Played 21 minutes, was 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 5 from three-point range. You just heard Todd there mentioning that Zachary Davis caught his eye as well. 10 points for the big true freshman, 6'7", 6'8". Can play a little bit of the point guard position, as Richard mentioned, can handle the ball. Certainly interested to see his continued development. Ben weighing in on the basketball game last night says, I thought Josh Gray had a sneaky good game last night. Good placement under the rim, made some smart passes to the outside when needed. The passing overall as a team looked better than I've seen in years. And Josh Gray last night, certainly it'll be interesting again. All of them. I probably could use this sentence for all of them to say it'll be interesting to see their development. Josh Gray last night, 19 minutes, scored 9 points, grabbed 8 rebounds. Big stat right here. Only committed 2 fouls. Got to be able to play without fouling. South Carolina is not going to be the largest team out there, especially given that Gigi Jackson probably play more on the wing. So you're going to need guys like Josh Gray to really step up, Benjamin Bosman Verdonk to step up last night. Verdonk with 19 minutes, scored 5 points, but grabbed 12 rebounds. It's Mars Hill. Take it for what it's worth. But certainly the two big guys last night for South Carolina providing some very nice quality minutes. We'll see what it looks like. South Carolina State next Tuesday, and then the big rivalry game, the Clemson Tigers come to town on November 11th, a Friday night at Colonial Life Arena. We'll talk some football. Time to hear a couple picks from Brian Edwards, a Vegas Insider. He joins us next. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford.
Noon to 3
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Buffalo remains atop my power rankings, followed by the well-rested Kansas City Chiefs and unbeaten Philly, with Jalen Hurts thrusting himself now into the MVP discussion. The Dak Attack has Dallas riding high, followed by an even more dangerous San Francisco in my eyes. Minnesota quietly 6-1. Tennessee, Miami, Seattle, and Baltimore complete the top 10. Great move by the Ravens, by the way, adding Roquan Smith. I'm Boomer Esiason.
Provember is back at Lowe's, and so are the savings. Power the possibilities with savings on the DeWalt tools you trust to get the job done. Like the DeWalt 16-piece reciprocating saw blade set was $29.98, now $19.98. And the DeWalt 14-piece assorted drill bit set was $16.98, now $9.98. These deals are tough to beat, and so are the tools. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Offer ends 12/28 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The new era of Thursday night football is only on Prime Video. Tonight, the high-flying Philadelphia Eagles roll into Houston to face a Texans team hungry for an upset. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, delivered by Little Caesars. Not an Amazon Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. It's the Eagles and the Texans, only on Prime Video. See Amazon.com/watchtnf for details.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
An accident with injuries, 321 near I-26. Also an accident with injuries at Calks Ferry in Platte Springs. An accident 26 eastbound at I-20 exit 107B. An accident 26 eastbound at 126 exit 108A. Also an accident at Counts Ferry at 378 and an accident at Boney Road and McNulty.
This fall, there are updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series or booster, schedule your updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
Chris Cuomo is back with a new show on a new network. Catch Cuomo weeknights on News Nation at 8 p.m. Eastern. To find News Nation on your television provider, go to newsnationnow.com/join us.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get all this behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. To get the best results for our clients,
At the Ecton Law Firm, we can fund this case for every work we need right here in Carolina. Don't trust the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. First visit is completely free and confidential. We meet with a licensed attorney in person at our office in Irvine, just off I-26. Call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. 803-771-9800. Or go to extonlawfirm.com. Carolina, if you have an IRS issue, you need a local attorney. You need me, not Exton. If you're thinking about your family, be sure to do what the CEO can. That's really a presidential specialist. Jordan Path, who talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen to Sunday morning. The CEO retirement, that's really a presidential specialist. Offers insurance services. That's really about broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. With Bill Gunter and Shannon Jess on your home of the Gamecocks. The Early Game, 1075 The Game.
$100 is how you can weigh in this morning, either via the text line or via the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, 803-404-6100. Either one, the Love Chevy phone line or the text line. You can always join us on our live stream. Chuck, Larry, Craig, Zach, RL, all in there discussing their philosophies on offense. And joining me now is a man who knows plenty about good offense. He just is a Florida Gator fan. It's been a while since Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer were running good offenses in games. I guess Dan Mullen had a year or two, but Brian Edwards, VegasInsider.com. How you feeling this morning, buddy?
Good, man. Good, Gunner. Good morning.
Good to hear from you as we do each and every Thursday. Not a bad week for you last week. You nailed the Gators. That half point helped you there tremendously. You got the Arkansas game. We were all over the Washington State Thursday nighter as they covered the 7. We didn't quite get the over in South Carolina, Missouri. The Gamecocks decided to go quiet on offense, and otherwise you probably would have gotten that if they'd have put up their usual 23 to 27 points. But not a bad week, and we move on. And I'll start right off with your money line, small money line parlay, and let's talk a little bit about the two monster games in the SEC: Tennessee and Georgia, LSU and Alabama. And you're taking a shot there. LSU at home, night game, Death Valley, little money line parlay, and Tennessee on the road with that offense. Why not? I kind of like that play.
Yeah. I'm not talking about risking a lot. It pays. It should be, if you get pretty good prices, it should be a minimum of 12-1 payout. But I have a couple of accounts. One of my accounts gave me a 16-1 payout, but the other one was closer to like 13-1. But yeah, I would say in the 12 to 16-1 range. Again, you're getting paid a lot if it hits, so don't risk a lot. But what I would do risking a lot is taking both of them, catching the points. So Tennessee 8-0 straight up, 7-1 against the spread, 2-0 both straight up and against the spread on the road. And they get Cedric Tillman back last week. Remember, he'd been out since week 3, and he was their best receiver last year, was second team all SEC. And while he was gone, Brew McCoy established himself, and Jalen Hyatt just absolutely went berserk. So now that trio, he only had 4 catches for 22 yards last week, but he was on a snap count, and he had 2 catches nullified because of penalties, and then it got out of hand. So it's not like he played a lot. He shook the rust off. So, he should be close to 100% this week. Hendon Hooker is 1,000,000%. I mean, he's just been ridiculous all year. 21-1 TDI&T ratio. Also has 330 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 4.6 yards per carry. Now for his career, he has a 74-11 TDI&T ratio, more than he's got 8,177 career passing yards, 1,987 career rushing yards, and 24 rushing touchdowns. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Georgia's only 2-2 against the spread in its last 4. was getting all the calls from the refs last week and had Florida buried and yet let Florida back in the game. I just don't think Georgia looks like the juggernaut they were last year since the South Carolina and Oregon games. Now, I'm not saying Kirby can't have a great defensive plan. He can, but now it looks like Tennessee's defense is coming around. I mean, they intercept Will Levis 3 times. They sack him 4 times. They hold him to less than 100 yards passing. They get Jalen McCullough back there, 3-year starter who had been suspended the last 2 games, and he had 4 tackles and a pass breakup. I just feel it with this Tennessee team. They're loosey-goosey. You know, Josh Heupel is relaxed and aggressive, and I think they go into Georgia, and I think they went outright.
Oh, so you're going Tennessee outright, huh?
I am.
Wow,
I am.
strong. Let me ask, you see that number, what's your initial reaction when you see a number like 9 for Georgia minus the 9 or Tennessee plus the 9? Because to me, having done this long enough, it feels like a sucker bet. Some people go, well, Vegas is doing it to make people bet the game, to make people take Tennessee. It feels like a sucker bet when you see that many points being given up to a team as hot as Tennessee, or I guess Tennessee laying or getting that many points.
So I guess it was 15 days ago. It was the Wednesday after Tennessee beat Alabama. I was on the radio in Birmingham, and they asked me what I thought the Tennessee-Georgia line should be. And at that point, I said, well, I think Cedric Tillman will be back at that point. And I go, it's got to be more than 7, but definitely less than 10. And so I said 8.5 at that point. But that was before I saw Tennessee absolutely dominate, Kentucky last week and not fall victim to the look ahead or the letdown after Alabama. I know it was UT Martin, a FCS team, but they were up like 50-6 at halftime. I mean, there's just this offense just is a machine. And so, look, only because when I write my lines, it is if Gunner was coming with stacks of $100 bills to bet on me based on what line I put out, I would still put out Georgia minus 7. That's the number I made Sunday morning. But in my mind, Georgia shouldn't even be favored by 7. But if I got to take the bet, I'm going to make it 7. So I think it's a little bit high, but not that high. I mean, it's only 8 right now. But I got to go with this offense of Hendon Hooker because I know, look, Georgia shut him down last year or held him to 17, and he'll have a great plan. He's got a great defense. And by the way, Nolan Smith's out for the year. That's big too. So, yeah, I like the Vols.
There you go. Let's real quick, because we started with this money line parlay. I was looking at 14-1 odds. If you wonder what that means if you bet 100, you would win 1,400 there on a money line parlay, LSU and Tennessee. LSU, real quick, a lot of points. I'm not sure what I think of LSU. As a matter of fact, I thought of all the odd things that involved the initial college football playoff rankings, LSU being number 10 was there strictly so the playoff committee later could go, oh, hey, Alabama's got a top 10 victory. They beat LSU. I don't think LSU's number 10. That's a lot of points when you start talking 14, 15, 13 in that ballpark for Alabama to have to cover in Death Valley on Saturday night.
Yeah, I like LSU plus 13, but there's some books at 13.5. If your number's 13.5, buy the half point to 14. LSU's played its best football the last 2 games. They won 45-35 at Florida. They beat an unbeaten Ole Miss team at the time, 45-20. And in those 2 games, Jaden Daniels has been sensational. 5 touchdown passes without an interception, 6 rushing touchdowns. LSU last 6 as a home dog, 4-1-1 against the spread with 4 outright wins. Alabama in road games since the start of last year when Bill O'Brien became the offensive coordinator, 2-5 against the spread with 2 outright losses. However, they could have 5 outright losses. The win against Texas when Ewers got hurt real early when he was looking great. They won that game by 1, and Texas missed a chip shot field goal as well. And at Auburn last year, they win by 2. If Tank Bigsby stays in bounds, they lose that game. Florida, they got 3 egregious calls in the first quarter. Florida missed an extra point, had to go for 2, missed that. So, I mean, they've got 3 wins by, 5 combined points and could have lost all 3 of those. They've been terrible on the road for 2 years now. Give me LSU plus 13 or hopefully 14.
Okay, a lot of good points there. Tonight in college football, UTEP and Rice. a very entertaining game, Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina. That one should be a lot of fun down at Brooks Stadium in Conway. But you like the NFL game tonight. It's the Eagles and the Texans. The Texans are continuing to be allowed to play the NFL. If it was Premier League soccer, they would be regulated to high school football, but we don't do that here in America. And you like the Eagles.
I do. But I'll also add that I decided, since I DM'd you, I'm going to go Coastal Carolina +3 to App State as well. Coastal Carolina is 18-2 straight up in its last 20 at home. In their last 13 as underdogs, whether home or road or whatever. 11-2 against the spread with 8 outright wins, and they've won outright in 6 straight games as underdogs. So now with the Eagles, I got these numbers early in the week, and I've seen that some books have moved these. But if you can still get the Eagles -7 in the first half, I like that. At halftime this year, they've been ahead by 10, 17, 24, 17, and 11. And then the 2 others, they were ahead by 6 and 4, which wouldn't work for us tonight because they're -7. But in 5 of their 7 games, they've been ahead by 10 or more at halftime. And then the other one on Philly is the team total over 14. I see some books have moved to 14.5. Hopefully you can still get a 14. In the first half this year, the Eagles have scored 24, 24 again, 24 a third time, 20, 14, 20, and 21. So 6 of 7 games, they've had 20 by halftime. And in all 7, they've had at least 14. And Houston is 30th out of 32 NFL teams in total defense, and they're dead last, number 32 at stopping the run.
Okay, so that's your college. He likes Coastal Carolina tonight plus the 3 down at Brooks Stadium. So a home underdog, App State rolls in. Should be a lot of fun actually watching that. I'm a little excited for that one. And then in the NFL, it's the Eagles at the Texans. And again, first half lines there. So you like kind of a quicker play there, something you can maybe watch and celebrate before you go to bed. Eagles -7 in the first half and the team total of over 14 in that one. Let's go back to Saturday. TCU, they're rolling along. I'm in a league pick 'em, Brian. I'm in a league pick 'em where, you got to pick 16 games in a span of 40 seconds on Saturday. It was a depressing 40 seconds. I had Ohio State, who was covering. They give up a last-second touchdown to Penn State. TCU's up 10. They're covering, and they give up a last-second touchdown. Or, excuse me, I had West Virginia plus the 7, and they give up a last-second touchdown to TCU to cover.
On 4th down with 20 from the 29-yard line with 20 seconds left. Ouch.
That's the kind of stuff, if I'd have actually had, like, actual money on that, I'd have thrown something sitting up at the Carolina game. But you got TCU -9, maybe 9.5. Texas Tech this weekend. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I made TCU 14 in this game. They're undefeated in 4 home games, 3-1 against the spread. Texas Tech's 0-3 on the road, 1-2 against the spread. Max Duggan, TCU's QB, 22-2 TDI and T ratio. Keydre Miller, 851 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 6.4 yards per carry average. I think they're going to feast on a Texas Tech defense that's 89th in the country in scoring D, giving up 29.3 points per game. And TCU's won 3 in a row in the rivalry, and the last 2 by double-digit margins. I made TCU 14. It's only 9. Give me the Frogs.
One more out of the ACC, and you might have another one that you just haven't sent me. You just mentioned Coastal and App State, but North Carolina at Virginia. Drake May is throwing the ball all over the yard. North Carolina's defense not so tantalizing, but North Carolina -7 at Virginia.
Yeah, you're right about UNC's defense having issues, but their issues aren't as bad as Virginia's offense, which has scored more than 17 only once in 7 games against FBS teams, and that was the 20 they scored against Syracuse. They're 123 out of 131 FBS teams in scoring 16.9 points per game average. And Brendan Armstrong, who was terrific last year, 31-10 TDI and T ratio, threw for 4,449 yards. This year, 6-9 TDI and T ratio. In fairness to him, his entire offensive line either graduated or transferred out. But look at Carolina. I mean, 7-1 straight up, 5-3 against the spread. They're undefeated in 4 road games with a 3-1 spread record. Like you said, Drake May, Pro Football Focus, has him graded as the highest QB in the country, even ahead of Hendon Hooker, who's number 2. He's thrown for 2,671 yards, 29-3 TDI&T ratio, 439 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 4.5 yards per carry average. I just don't think Virginia's going to be able to score enough to keep up with the Tar Heels. So Tar Heels -7. A lot of books have moved to 7.5. I think that's fine. They're going to win by double digits, but probably want to buy the half point to 7, that key number, just in case.
All right. Anything else? I know the last part of the message, working on a few others. Anything else, or will I be sharing tomorrow your plays?
You know what? How about that? I'm still waiting on some NFL injury info. I'm considering Kansas State, which is 19-6 against the spread. Its last 25 as a home underdog. But I'll hit you with a DM later because again I'll have some NFL plays. But just waiting for some injury info.
I appreciate it, Brian. We enjoy you joining us each and every Thursday as always. Good luck to you this weekend. I look forward to catching up next week.
Thanks, brother. Oh, and you know what? I like South Carolina also at 7 or fewer. And I know they had an under game last week, but Vandy's defense is bad, so I kind of like that over as well. So South Carolina in the over. I'm not as high on those two as my other games, but I'll have a little on that.
Real quick.
Right,
hold on, real quick. Since you brought that up, Clemson and Notre Dame. Clemson is -3.5. I feel like that's a sucker line. I feel like Clemson wins by double digits here. Game's a night game in South Bend. Your thoughts on Clemson, Notre Dame, real quick. I know it's not a pick of yours, but just your opinion on the game and maybe where you would lean.
If I can get Clemson -3, I think that's the way I would go. Notre Dame's offense doesn't impress me. Their quarterback doesn't impress me.
Yeah.
So but you know, Clemson didn't impress me against Syracuse either. I thought they had got some gift calls. Like they did get some gift calls, or they would have lost that game. But yeah, I'd still go Clemson.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate the just the insight on that. Like I said, it's not a play you would make, but appreciate that. Tonight, Eagles -7 first half over the 14.5 points for Philadelphia, team points for them. And then you mentioned you like Coastal at home plus the 3. Brian, again, we'll catch up with you next week. Always appreciate you being a part of the program.
Yeah, buddy. And hopefully that team total for the Eagles is 14. If it's 14.5, I mean, I'd still do it, but not, just small.
Gotcha.
That hook is a big deal.
Gotcha. I appreciate it. Take care, and we'll catch up with you next week. He's Brian Edwards. Joins us each and every week from Vegas Insider. Make sure VegasInsider.com or MajorWager.com is part of your weekly reading. Right now, let's give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to next Monday night's home opener for Dawn Staley and the women's team. They'll take on East Tennessee State. Right now, 803-404-6100. Let's take caller number 6. Caller number 6. You can win a pair of tickets to next Saturday night's home opener for Dawn Staley and the women's team right here on 107.5 The Game. You're listening to the early games. Bill Gunner and its producer, Ed Bird.
Keep up with our 15th anniversary podcast
by downloading our 107.5 The Game app
or at 1075thegame.com.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Hey, it's Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game. Just want to yap with you a minute about real estate. Okay, if you're dealing in the real estate market, either buying or selling, it's the biggest transaction for a lot of folks that you'll ever make, right? So if you're going to be dealing with the biggest transaction you're ever going to make in your life, you need somebody you can trust and depend on, because trust and dependability are kind of important when you're dealing with this kind of money. Call my guy, Kevin Johnson, Jeff Cook Real Estate. 2 key values of the Johnson team: communication, availability. Don't believe me? Write down this number real quick. 803-770-5496. That's 803-770-5496. You call it, guess what happens? Kevin will personally take your call. It won't be some 800 number talking to some guy in Billings, Montana, who doesn't know Columbia, South Carolina from Columbia, Missouri, or the country Columbia. So if you're buying or selling a home, call Kevin Johnson of Jeff Cook Real Estate, 803-770-5496, or online at johnsonteamsc.com.
Travis Bedson, owner of CNT Foundations.
In uncertain economic times, your home may be your most valuable asset, but a foundation problem can seriously threaten that value. And if money is tight, you may consider putting off the repair. That's not a good idea, and is why we offer no interest financing for up to 2 years for qualified homeowners. Don't risk it. Call today.
Call 803-805-8044. CNT Foundations. your foundation experts.
SC Department of Corrections is hiring food service specialists with a $7,500 sign-on bonus. Start a new career with great employee benefits today. Visit joinscdc.com for info. Sponsored by SC Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
This football season, in every
until back, neck, or shoulder pain hits and moves you to a stop. That's why there's the joint chiropractic. Easy and affordable way to relieve pain and help keep you moving. At the joint, there's no appointment or insurance hassles, and we're open evenings and weekends. Visit today while I do with our $29 inpatient special, including exam, consultation, and chiropractic adjustment. Visit thejoint.com. That's thejoint.com to find a clinic near you.
There's just something different about Medicine Mark West Columbia. Here's Adam Hayes. First time I visited Medicine Mark West Columbia, I told myself they have a customer for life. But I would do a very cool set right here. And all the Medicine Mark Farms at 1300 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. We look forward to serving you. And now the Kansas of football. Propello Hush Root
I'm not upset with you. Upset. My goodness, Troy, you're so sensitive. So sensitive. He had a good week. I said that. Did you not catch that at the beginning? What did he do last week? Last week he got Florida, Arkansas. He went 3-1 last week. Let's see here. The week before, he did pretty good. The week before, he's been hot all of a sudden.
(803-404-6100) how you can join us, or you can go on our live stream where I'm picking on my guy Troy, who's on there. He has kept track of Brian Edwards throughout the year, and we pick on Troy. Troy is a serious gambler. I'm just picking. I enjoy our live streamers, and you can go and be a part of that group. Troy, Zach, Larry, Chuck, all in there, and you can go and join us on the live stream. And kind of I have been in and out on the live stream today, doing a few other things during the break. But during the break, we normally interact, and you can go be a part of that. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, hop in there, weigh in with your opinions. Zach talking about the college football playoff and trying to figure out what the playoff will look like. It'll open up after this weekend. We'll have a better idea. I'm not a huge particular fan of Brian Edwards' pick there of LSU to cover that 14, but I don't know what Alabama is. Brian Edwards, who just joined us in the previous segment, makes some good points about LSU as it pertains to the fact that, they're good at home. and then make some good points about Alabama, where they've struggled of late when they go on the road. They're not always the top-notch Alabama team that we've seen when they go on the road. You think back, it's very possible they should have 2 losses at this point. The Tennessee game, obviously, but also Texas as well there in Austin. So it'll be interesting to follow that on Saturday night. Big point spread there, 13.5 for the LSU Tigers. So we will continue to see, and Mark weighs in on our live stream, says LSU didn't look good at home versus Tennessee. But that, again, early game, noon game, and those Cajuns, they struggle with that 11 a.m. kickoff there when you make them do that. We'll see. It'll be a little bit more difficult for Alabama getting the nighttime kickoff there in Death Valley. And it should be a fun weekend of college football. South Carolina and Clemson both on the road. So unless you're traveling to South Bend or you're traveling to Nashville. Nashville, always a great time. You can go up and you can see Patrick Perrette, who will be joining us tomorrow morning, as he does each and every Friday. But unless you're going up, you can enjoy some really good football. And it gets going again tonight. There will be a really fun game tonight that I will be tuned into. App State and Coastal Carolina, 7:30 on ESPN. That game taking place down at Brooks Stadium in Conway. So a little bit of in-state flavor. I like seeing Coastal be relevant in college football. It gives us another in-state team to root for, to pull against, whatever you may like or want to do, and getting a fun little game tonight against Appalachian State. And then Saturday we'll get going. That North Carolina-Virginia game, by the way, Brian Edwards liking North Carolina, that is a noon game on the ACC network. The noon slate, it's okay. Kentucky at Missouri, Florida at Texas A&M, Minnesota, who's been kind of entertaining to watch, at Nebraska. So a couple noon games worth having a couple televisions on. The 3:30 slate, really, really entertaining, a lot of fun. Oklahoma State and Kansas. I know I'm saying Kansas and fun football, but Kansas has been entertaining this year. That game's at 3:30. Of course, a lot of us will be glued to Tennessee and Georgia at 3:30 on Saturday. That'll be the one that really gets everybody's attention. And then the night games, Alabama, LSU, Texas and Kansas State. Texas back in the rankings at number 24. Clemson and Notre Dame, South Carolina and Vanderbilt. You're going to need multiple televisions. And, oh, yeah, remember when this was a fun game? Florida State and Miami. If what is it, 20 years ago, if you'd have asked somebody, hey, is there a weekend where Florida State, Miami doesn't get mentioned at all? That they would have you'd been looked at as if you were crazy, right? But no, Florida State. Oh, yeah, by the way, Florida State, Miami, that game will be played this weekend, 7:30 ABC. It'll be down at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. 803-404-6100. Last weekend on the NASCAR circuit, well, it was interesting. I would say that's one way to describe it. And coming up next, we will get Kerry Tharp's thoughts on the late run by Ross Chastain. What is it? What is his thoughts when you just run your car into the wall and pull off a PlayStation or Xbox move to get into the final playoff? We will get Kerry's thoughts on that as we come to the conclusion of the NASCAR season. You're listening to the early game on 107.5.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
The way that Eli Drinkwood seems to own South Carolina and just relish playing the Gamecocks, I'm trying to think when the last time somebody else has owned the Gamecock soul like Eli seems to.
I'll say this, at least as far as Saturday, it didn't feel like a fluke to me. Like, I thought they had a phenomenal.
I would say that that's a very. I think Kentucky's only a 2-point favorite, and it just feels Missouri-esque. It just feels Missouri-esque to pull off that win. Attaboy, Troy, get him. And I know you're just kidding. That's the fun part of the live stream. It is bad, yeah. Yeah, they've given up its basketball time. Kentucky. I should know this, but when is the Champions Classic? I feel like the Champions Classic is next Tuesday night. Am I wrong about that? It is not Tuesday night. I really should just click on Kentucky. The Champions Classic next Thursday night? Yeah, I'm with you, Mark. That's why I said that's in they're in there so they can say Alabama beat a top 10 team. Champions Classic is the 15th. I was unaware of that. I have not looked at the all the preseason tournaments, like the Maui Invitational. I heard that it's a great field. Oh, it is good for Texas Tech versus Creighton in game 1. Louisville versus Arkansas, Ohio State City. That is a really Cincinnati, Arizona. That is a really good field. Huh. I did not realize that. All right, I got to make a pick for NASCAR. Jen sent me an email.
So rumor has it that Staples is everything I need to ship. That's not a rumor. We have all the shipping supplies and services you need. Boxes? Yep. Mailers? Yep. And I can actually ship there, right? Well, Staples never way. Staples has all your shipping supplies and UPS service in store. And right now, get 25% off UPS Express shipping services. Staples, the best taxi-free shipping and $12.31 only in Staples U.S. stores.
Broadcasting live from the Heritage Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. On your home of the Gamecocks, the early game. 1075 The Game.
Oh, it's been
fun. Thank you for all your interaction throughout the morning as we've talked about South Carolina men's basketball, an 80-41 victory over Mars Hill last night in an exhibition game. Obviously, a lot of discussion about South Carolina's offense. I'm sure that will continue tomorrow when Patrick Perrette joins us. And now we are joined by my good buddy, Kerry Tharp, one of my best friends in the world. We hang out all the time together. Good to hear from you. How you feeling, man?
I'm doing great, Bill. Hope you all are too. And certainly thinking about Jen and her mom. I hope she gets feeling better and gets back to good health. But it's great to be on. Always is one of the highlights of my week.
Well, good. Yeah, and I know I'm well aware that highlight is usually because you get to talk to Jen and not me, but I accept it. I accept it, and I'm just glad that you're a part of our program each and every week. But this is, I don't want to say this is it, but yeah, here we are. It's now the final race of the season. Hard to believe that we've rolled through the entire season, and last week ended in a bang. I put on Twitter, I believe Sunday night, that I was actually very excited about this segment because controversy, NASCAR's at its best, Kerry, when there's controversy, when there's a little bit of bad blood, when there's tension. And Ross Chastain, I think he hit peak controversy last week with a bold wall riding move to get himself into the title this weekend.
Oh, there's no question about that, Bill. And certainly NASCAR, over its 75-year history, has had its share of excitement, controversy, high emotions, even sometimes a few fisticuffs here and there. But yeah, what Ross Chastain did the other night, I think some people are calling it the Wall Russ move, was just off the charts. I was actually there in Martinsville, standing up top of turn 3, and when I saw what happened, I was like, I don't believe what I just saw. And not until I was able to actually look it on replay did I figure out exactly what he had done. But what a gutsy move he pulled off. It's probably one of those 1 in 1,000 that works. And first time I've ever seen anything like it. And I think they said it might have been the first time that it ever happened in the history of our sport. So, yeah, that got people talking, certainly across the country. And even people that really didn't follow NASCAR were talking about that move. So, it certainly breeds a great deal of excitement as we head into the championship round this weekend in Phoenix.
What is your take? I mean, it sounds like you're okay with the move. I know some drivers were annoyed, I guess you would say. They thought it was illegal. What is your take on that move? Because it had big implications. It got him into the winner take all finale now with Christopher Bell, Joey Logano.
Yep.
It'll be Chase Elliott, and then Ross Chastain, who knocked my guy Denny Hamlin out of.
I know he did.
I mean, painful.
Yeah. Well, my take on it was that it was one of those certainly walk-off moves. I don't think you're going to see it very much and happen again. I'm okay with it. I mean, I think what he did was perfectly within the framework of the rules. I think some people think maybe that he was taking too much risk doing that. But, our sport is a risky sport. Every time you get out on that racetrack and strap on that helmet and lock on those seatbelts, you're taking a great risk. And so I thought it was neat. I'll be honest with you. Now, if everybody started doing it on a regular basis and we had a bunch of wrecks and maybe things that weren't safe, then I would say that maybe we would need to, temper that or make some type of an adjustment. But for now, I say, I celebrate the move. I thought it was something unorthodox. It was, out of the box move, I guess you could say. And it was a Hail Mary. Now they're calling it a Hail Melon because he's the watermelon man. But I just thought it was one of those Hail Marys that happened to work.
Let's make some picks. Phoenix. Now we're gonna make 2 picks.
Oh God.
If we're gonna make 2
Right.
picks, our standings are pretty well set. I guess
They are.
you could pass me with a win. I could maybe pass Jen, but Reggie is gonna win this thing, and it's really just a matter of 2 through about 4. There, I would need a miracle, but
yeah.
we're gonna pick the winner of the race, and you're gonna pick the winner of the championship. So go ahead. Where are you going here?
Well, I'm going to, I certainly am pulling for Ross Chastain. I just think what a storyline that would be, driving for Trackhouse Racing. And that's what my heart is tugging at. But I think my mind is going to double down on Joey Logano to win on Sunday, win the race and win the championship.
All right. So you're going Logano on both sides. Jen has after your debacle last week of not being able to read the text message, she said, I don't want another picks glitch like last week. She's going to get Blaney, and she's going to take championship pick of Elliott and Kerry. I'm going to go with my guy Hamlin to win the race, and I'm going to go championship pick Elliott. That's where I'll go with that.
There you go. There you go. Well, we all got different picks, and last week the technical difficulty that I experienced, I had to live with that throughout the whole weekend. I had a hard time sleeping once that happened, but it should be a great race this weekend over there at Phoenix, and I look forward to seeing it.
We are out of time. There was no music, so I apologize for that, but we will catch up with you next week, and we'll recap the season that was. Kerry, you have a great weekend.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
This football season and every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Locally owned Atlantic.
All right, everybody have a what a weird one. Y'all have a good rest of the day, and we will catch up here soon. Tomorrow. Take care.